from the All-Star break tonight with the series at home against the Giants. Bryce Miller gets the start. First pitch at 7:10 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 6 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Seahawks rookies are reporting to camp today. The Seahawks host their first training camp practice Saturday, July 25th.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Curtis in for Bump today. Curtis, the Mariners return from the All-Star break tonight. They have a series at home against the Giants. Bryce Miller is going to get the start. Now, coming up in 30 minutes, you and I are going to talk about the most important Mariner in the second half. Coming up later at noon, we're going to be joined by the Seattle Times' Ryan Divish, who made a bold prediction for the second half that I think Mariners fans are going to like. Shockingly, I know Divish can kind of like, really blunt, but this is actually
kind of like the Josh Naylor of the Mariners beat.
Yeah, and we love that. But it's actually it's a great prediction. We can't wait to ask him about it. So
they're kindred spirits.
So this look into the second half will continue all throughout today's show. But you wanted to start by explaining why it's so important, vitally important, that the Mariners win early out the gates. And at first I thought, well, that's a little unfair. They struggled in the first half. Maybe I should lower my expectations. But you said, no.
No, Stacey.
No.
If you take a look, a gander, if you will, at the Mariners' upcoming schedule, you've got a nice soft landing to start the second half. 3 against the Giants, who have been horrible this season. We've talked a lot about how bad the Giants have been from the outset of the season to now. And then you've got the Cincinnati Reds, who have been a disappointment as well in the National League Central. They were a playoff team last year, but they are not trending in that direction here in 2026. So hopefully you can go better than 500 on this homestand. I think
that would be my wish.
A winning homestand is the bare minimum
for
these next 6 games. But you look at about a month out, there are some pretty tough opponents. You've got immediately after this homestand, a 4-game series against the Rangers, basically for first place in the AL West. You follow that up with 3 at Dodger Stadium against the best team in baseball.
Much tougher than the Rangers, I think.
You've got a homestand against the Twins, who are tied.
Sneaky tough.
They're tied with you for the 3rd wild card. 3 against the Tigers, who have been red hot going into the All-Star break. 3 against the Rays, who are in first place in the American League East. And then you travel to Yankee Stadium for 3. And Yankee Stadium has been a house of horrors for the Mariners for so long.
I don't want to go back.
That is about 19 games in a row against playoff caliber teams. Now, in the American League, playoff caliber is a notch below what it is in the National League.
Playoff caliber is kind of like you're the prettiest person at QFC. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, there's just some random people. This isn't like an LA Fitness in Miami. You know what I mean? There's just random people. Martha's here getting her groceries. Like, the Rangers are in first place, but I'm not terrified of the Rangers.
Yeah.
Their pitching's been great this year. But I don't think the Mariners have a place to look down on any team. You're quite literally looking up on the Rangers. But I am much more nervous about a series against the Yankees, about facing the Rays again, about the Dodgers. Those are the teams where I go, oh, man. She had a bit of a warm-up here.
So you look at, what is it? The Mariners have played 97 games this season. So doing some math, I have a computer in front of me, so I'm able to.
You didn't do the math.
You're right. Or is it 87 or 97? I think it's 97, yes. Yes, 97 games. So there is 65 games remaining in this schedule for the Mariners. You subtract 19 from that. I mean, obviously, now you're looking at 46 games left after this stretch. Like, it speeds up on you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to take advantage of this stretch. Not necessarily take advantage of it, but, like, make sure that...
Don't bury yourself.
Yeah, don't bury yourself. Make sure that you are taking care of everything that you need to take care of. And, oh, by the way, in the middle of this stretch, there is the trade deadline.
Yeah, very good point.
You've got to figure out who you are in the midst of what is going to be probably the most important stretch of your entire season.
I have a question for you. Is that series against the Tigers, 3 against the Tigers, before or after the deadline? I know you mentioned they won 9 of 12 going into the break, but I think everyone is assuming that they're going to trade Derrik Skubal because they simply aren't going to be able to pay to keep him. They can get something from him, and who knows if they trade Skubal, if they then trade Green or someone else.
That series comes the day after the trade deadline, August 4th.
That I wonder what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder. That series is an interesting one to me because I don't think Skubal's staying in Detroit. But I don't know. I mean, if you deal Skubal, maybe there's a little bit. It doesn't make the team horrible out of nowhere, but sometimes mentality and frustration, right, can take a clubhouse down. Either way, it's a really, really, really good point because I think that I actually love this point. I have throughout this season been telling myself, still half a season left. Okay, still most of half a season left. All right, you still got 65 games left. But that also assumes that they turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
And that assumes that they do some things that they haven't done in the first half. Win 5-6 games in a row.
Right.
Stack 3 or 4 series wins, maybe even more. Stack a couple sweeps. Making this up, I don't think you have to get to 90 to win the AL West. I do think that you have to win at a much higher clip than you have been to take the AL West. And not only that, but to make people feel good about you at all going into the postseason. You weren't a team that was supposed to limp into the postseason like last year's Reds. You were a team that was supposed to win your division and be a top 1 or 2 seed like last year's Mariners. And you aren't. You
bring up that 90-win goal. The Mariners the rest of the way would have to win at a 65% clip. You would have to go 42-23 over the season's final 65
Which means you
games.
are taking at least 2 of these series.
You're winning basically every series the rest of the year.
Well, and that's going to be, if you get swept by the Dodgers or swept by the Yankees, you better sweep the Tigers.
Right.
You better sweep the Rangers. You better mop up with the Rangers. You know what I mean? Like, that makes each one of those so important. It's a great point because tonight, a win matters.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, a win matters. Sunday, a win matters.
Yeah. And also, I mean, God, even I'm looking at the August schedule. 3 at Milwaukee. You've got a home series against the Cubs and then a home series against the Phillies. A road series against the Blue Jays, who are gunning for you. The Red Sox have been red hot as well. You've got a road series against them. Like, this stretch, Stacy, is of the utmost importance. These 6 games that the Mariners have for themselves in this homestand, let's say you go 6-0. All of a sudden now you're, 54-49? That's a much more manageable.
And in first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
You're definitely going to be in first place because the Rangers have not really shown themselves to be, anything to be scared of at any point this season. But yeah, this Mariners team, there is a huge opportunity here for them. And I hope that you look at this roster, you look at the makeup of it, like whatever they're missing, they need to go out and acquire because it's just simply, it has not been enough to this point in the year.
We'll talk about what they could literally acquire coming up a bit later in the show, and we'll talk about why acquiring someone matters later in the show. Those are 2 separate things. Right now, though, Curtis, you mentioned they really need those wins urgently. They're going to have to go at like a 650 clip for the rest of the year to get to 90. They may not need 90 to win the AL West, but they certainly need to win more than they have in the first half. Let's talk about how they do it. This was John Morosi on with Wyman and Bob the other day.
Inconsistent, injured, unfulfilled first half. They should be better. And if I'm going to be honest, I believe in their chance to turn it around. There's still a future for this team, and I think it's a positive one. But, man, they have taken their sweet time in getting into the good run of form that we can actually dream on for the Seattle Mariners in the second half.
Now, John is being a little facetious and saying, they've taken their sweet time getting there in his critique.
It takes a lot for John Morosi to be that way, too. One of the most positive people you'll ever meet. Super,
super positive and so nice. However, I'm glad that he framed it that way because it sure feels like with the Mariners, there's been a foot off the gas approach. You've been playing, Mike's talked about this a ton in the morning. They've been playing really sloppy baseball outside of just, hey, Cal, you don't look right. Hey, Julio, you haven't been hitting your ceiling. Hey, Naylor, what happened? Outside of those obvious things where it's like, hey, you simply need to be better here. they're struggling with things they can control.
Yeah.
Randy with that pop-up into foul territory, sloppy play on defense from a number of players. Like, those are things in your control. You might make a mistake, but the effort should always be there. The good body language should always be there. The urgency should always be there. And I wonder if one of the things, Curtis, that they have to do in the second half is start being honest about where they are right now.
I think so. And I think for so often in the season's first half, you're able to say, well, you still got enough time left to dig yourself out of whatever hole you've put yourself in. You've got enough time to get things right. You've got enough time to get your bat going. Every excuse we've heard in the book in the years that we have covered this team, or in the years that we've watched Mariners baseball. But we have shown that it's going to speed up on you very quickly over the next few weeks. You're going to see that the urgency with each game needs to be met with, just a huge importance, because all these games are going to matter. We talk about, every game mattering in April, in May, and June, just as much as it does in July, August, and September. But it really does feel like these ones specifically, to start off the second half of the year, are going to be ones where you've got to take advantage of what is going to be here in Seattle. Like, San Francisco and Cincinnati are not good teams.
I was going to say, can you tell us a bit about San Francisco and Cincinnati? Because San Francisco, I know, in fact, a while ago we had Jordan on the show. This was like 2 appearances from Jordan a while ago. And we were like, hey, who's having like the toughest season? Like, if we're complaining about the Mariners, what's a team that you kind of look at and you go, well, oh, shoot. At least it's not there.
Glad it's not San Francisco.
You mentioned the Red Sox at the time, who have kind of managed to salvage their season and are trying to make a run here late. But he also said, "Oh my God, what am I talking about? Obviously, it's the Giants."
Yeah.
Well, given that was his answer, Curtis, what should we know?
Well, the Giants. I mean, Devers has been a big disappointment this season. His numbers are actually like respectable in comparison to the rest of baseball right now, at the 799 OPS. The problem is he's getting paid a huge contract, and those numbers just simply aren't going to be worth what they're paying him. Luis Arias is being Luis Arias with a 330 batting average, but Willie Adames has not really lived up to the hype. Matt Chapman's bat has not gotten going this year. He's still great defensively, but leaves plenty to be desired with the bat this year. Elliot Ramos has not played up to expectation. They have left quite a bit out there in terms of like what they could be.
Think of an offensive category, they're bottom third.
Yeah, exactly. And the back end of their pitching staff has been really bad this year. Adrian Hauser with an ERA near 5, Tyler Mahle with an ERA over 5, Trevor McDonald with an ERA over 5. You're going to see Landon Roop tonight, an ERA of 4.27. Just looking at the Giants rotation, how it lines up in this series. You've got Landon Roop tonight, Logan Webb on Saturday, and then Robbie Ray on Sunday. So they're throwing their 3 best starters against you. But all of those guys I would not consider to be, ace caliber. I think Logan Webb is probably the best of those 3 in terms of just overall resume. We know what Robbie Ray can do, and he's definitely liable to give up some big innings. So the Mariners have to be able to take advantage of that opportunity this weekend, because honestly, like, over the next few weeks, playing a team as bad as the Giants, you're not going to really see that. The Reds coming to town after that, they're 43-52. Their big acquisition over the offseason was Geno Suarez, who obviously a lot of people were sad to see go, but you look at Geno's numbers this year, 11 home runs.
That's the
this
one
time
thing,
last year, he had like 35.
That's the thing I'll say about the sadness some people had in seeing Polanco and Geno go, is that neither has been absolutely taking off for their respective teams this year. It was ultimately the right decision. Mm-hmm. It does not mean there aren't moves for the Mariners to make, though. Again, we'll talk about those later in the show.
So you will probably miss out on, you might end up seeing Chase Burns in that Reds series. It looks like Burns will start Game 2 of that series with how the Reds have lined up their rotation. Chase Burns has been outstanding this season, 11-1 with an ERA of 2.54. He just signed a big extension with Cincinnati as well. That's kind of the one outing that you got to be mindful of when facing Cincinnati starting pitching. But outside of him, their starting pitching has not been very good either this year, with a few guys racking up ERAs in the mid-4s to high 4s. So get the offense going when you're facing bad pitching. But I think there needs to be that urgency. We heard from Cal Raleigh a couple weeks ago saying, like, we need to play a full 9 innings. And I think you need to have a lot of clean games here over the next week because, again, like, it doesn't get easier after this homestand.
Speaking of Cal Raleigh, he might be an answer for someone with this next question. Who's the most important Mariner in the second half? We're getting to that conversation in 15 minutes. You can text in your answer, 866-979-3776. Let's get to Headline Rewrites.
Extra, extra, real
Headline Rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news.
Powered by Bay Alarm Security Services.
With Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Seahawks rookies report for training camp today. What's the real headline?
Between this and the British Open, there was no chance Bump was coming to work today.
Yeah,
He's at one of them. I can't figure out which one.
I'm going to say British Open.
I am too, though.
Maybe he's at the Seahawks facility with a tablet. He's always got his iPad on him.
He always does.
He definitely had to have his iPad on him within the last week.
Oh, yeah, because he didn't have his phone for... I still can't believe he didn't have his phone for a week.
It's crazy.
I'd be going absolutely... What do you even do when you're home? Like, when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching something, I have to be scrolling, and I know that there are people much older than me going, oh, my God, see, this is what the problem is with the world. But I find it... Well, maybe.
Maybe he picked up a hobby in the last week to take away from the screen time he was using.
No, I think he used his tablet to do all the things. I think he was scrolling through Instagram, and I think he was watching film. It will never not be funny to me that last summer he turned up to training camp early, one of the days that we were there, and that one of the valet guys was like, hey, good luck, man.
Bump with his gray beard and everything. He's the
gray
elder statesman of the
He has
team.
some gray.
He's got quite a bit of gray.
I just appreciate the idea that someone was like, Bump.
Hey, man.
Oh, also,
good luck this season.
What I appreciate is that a couple days ago when we were talking about how the Mariners have new ownership for the first time, the Seahawks have new ownership for the first time since 1997, I made a joke about how I wasn't even born yet as a running bit that I make myself younger and younger and younger each day. And someone commented on the YouTube page, it was like, I had no idea Stacy was born after
27 years old.
It's like,
Thank you.
I'm actually younger. I was born last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a Benjamin Button situation.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. What's next?
Headline Rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Mariners will have all 6 starting pitchers make starts on this homestand. What's the real headline?
But will they score 6 runs in this homestand? I'd hope.
I sure hope so.
I'd hope more than that. No, we need to see the offense do more, which seems like the dumbest piece of analysis I can offer, but also the most simple answer for what will get them to the postseason.
They got to get that offense going. A few guys in particular, namely the 3 guys who we had penciled in at the start of the year saying these are your most important bats, Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Josh Naylor. Those 3 have to get it going in the season's second half. If not, it's going to be a long next couple of months.
Well, I was going to say, like, what if Cal doesn't get it going, though? Because I think
it's a
Cal
fair question. I think it's a very fair question.
Well, I think Cal could have mentally and emotionally, and I almost feel bad for Cal at this point where I'm like, yes, you not performing is probably the single biggest reason this team has been struggling because you're so important to this lineup and you have taken, like, such a dive from last year.
Yeah.
I also don't envy the feeling of someone who is hyper-competitive failing routinely and feeling like they don't know how to dig themselves out of it. Like, that's a difficult place to be mentally and emotionally. But I think that there's a world where he can't turn it on and just finds other ways to respond. Shrinking the strike zone, trying to work on timing, but mostly just focused on defense. Like, what you can control. But, like, there's a world where he just has to adjust to who he is this year.
I think if the Mariners think that this is who Cal Raleigh is for the rest of the season, you have to acquire a bat.
Agree.
There's just no way you can rely every day on Cal Raleigh being this version of himself in order to reach the World Series. Like, you've got to make sure that there is somebody that you go out and acquire, whether it be a right-handed bat against left-handed pitching or just another bat that you can stick in your lineup
And
you've got to go out and get that if you think Cal Raleigh is not going to get to 2024 Cal Raleigh or 2023 Cal Raleigh.
And also, look, it happens. When was the last time the Braves won the World Series? Can you please remind me? It was not that long
2021.
ago. Thank you. And in 2021, they lost, was it Ronald Acuna Jr. for part of the season? Someone got injured.
He was out for the whole playoffs.
Out for the whole, he was completely gone, and it was like, oh my God, the season's absolutely done. And then they made 4 major acquisitions at the trade deadline.
Jack Peterson, Escobar.
Was it not Jorge or George?
Jorge Soler
was a big one.
Jack Peterson was another.
The idea was that this person that you planned to be central, not just part of, central to your offense, was gone. And you were looking at trying to make a run without this person going, oh my God, we didn't plan for that. We didn't plan for a season without this guy. And then they made those trades. Now, I don't necessarily think 4 options like that are available to the Mariners at the deadline. But what I'm saying is it is possible for teams to pivot. You don't need to, nor should you ever punt on the season and just go like, dang, we're cursed. Cal isn't who we thought he would be. Like, adjust. And other teams have been able to do it. It is incredibly difficult. It is far easier said than done. But we'll talk about some things we hope they do coming up later in the show. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Spain takes on Argentina in Sunday's World Cup final. What's the real headline?
Time to find out whether Messi's the GOAT or the GOAT.
Yeah, his legacy's pretty secure regardless of the result.
Might be ironed out.
I mean, if he gets a second World Cup title at age, 39? Like, holy cow.
Has he already
surpassed Pele?
No. It feels more like it'll be he's won the Ronaldo debate, but now it's on to Gamal. Where it's like there's a new GOAT. Is it going to be Mbappe? Is it going to be, you know what I mean? There's going to be a next generation guy.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo already said this is going to be his last World Cup because I think he's going to be like 44 his next one. Yeah, he's pretty cooked.
There were other issues with how he was being used as well. Or rather, he was insisting to be used.
But this kind of reminds me of Steph Curry winning a title after Kevin Durant had left Golden State, where it was like, everybody had kind of written off Golden State as a potential title contender in that 2022 season. And then all of a sudden, like, they start winning a ton of games, and then they make it all the way to the NBA Finals, and everybody's like, okay, well, they're facing a good Boston team, like a young Boston team, too, with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like, we think the Celtics are going to handle Golden State. And then all of a sudden, it's vintage Steph Curry, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's why he's one of the greatest players of all time. Whereas, like, Messi in this tournament, people are kind of like, he's going to start showing his age at some point. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got to he can't possibly will this team to another World Cup title. He's been playing in the MLS for the last 3 or 4 years. Like, how could he possibly still remain one of the best players in the world?
When you're the GOAT, you're the GOAT.
You stay there.
You find ways to get it done. And either you do it because you can still perform, like Tom Brady in 2020 for the Bucs, still throwing for, 5,000 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He might have even done that the following year, too. Or if it's, okay, well, I'm not exactly who I was, but I'm so singularly obsessed with winning that we will find ways to lift this team there.
Yeah.
Like, you're just an amazing presence and leader, and you make everyone around you better, and you let other people be a star, whatever it is. It's just an obsession with getting this done.
Saw people complaining about the, was it the noon kickoff? Or no, 2 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
On noon kickoff Sunday.
Yeah,
but you know what? This game I think is geared more towards the European audience because that would be like 8 p.m.
I'm not
prime time.
Mad at a noon kickoff. It's Sunday.
3 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah.
Noon kickoff on a Monday would feel very weird. I'm like, in the middle of the workday, we're putting on the World Cup final. But for a Sunday, come on, man. I feel like things on Sunday are matinees anyway. Who's not used to a major? It's not going to be a game 7, but all of us have watched a baseball game start at 10:40 on a Sunday, or I don't know. It's just, I'm okay with noon.
Yeah, USA got knocked out. We don't have any.
Yeah, it's fine. Who's the most important Mariner in the second half? Text your answer in 866-979-3776. That's next.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break.
Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
We have values. We live those values. I think that's the best thing that this company has for it, is its reputation of taking care of people.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales Event going on right now through Sunday, August 2nd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales Event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Dave Wyman here, and the folks at Bellevue Rare Coins say higher prices have enticed more Americans to cash out their jewelry, gold, and silver items. Here's a story from a real customer. She walked into Bellevue Rare Coins with an old bag of jewelry, a little bit nervous, a little bit embarrassed because it was mostly old tangled chains and pieces she hadn't looked at in years. When they gave her the total, she couldn't believe what it was worth. Go see what your jewelry is worth with a free consultation. Bellevue Rare Coins is now in Linwood, Issaquah, Tacoma, and Bellevue.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here with my buddy Shannon O'Kelly from IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. We know this, Shannon. When the weather warms, our baseball team's bats usually get a little hotter. We also know that maybe we've been sitting around and we try to crank things to 100 and our bodies don't quite react. As the weather gets warmer, do you see more folks at IRG?
Absolutely, Brock. You know, you just mentioned it. As the weather warms up, people think they need to get outside, which is great. But sometimes they get outside, they start too fast, too quick, and they don't warm up. They don't stretch. They don't do preparation. If you find yourself in that situation where maybe you overdid it, you're hurt, you got a bruise, a bump, an ache, get a hold of us at IRG PT. We'll do a free injury screening, and we'll give you some guidance, some recommendations to keep you on your path of healthy function, pain-free activity.
How cool is that? A free screening for you and no referral needed. Just personalized care when and where you need it. Visit irgpt.com and schedule your appointment today. Over 40 convenient locations. IRG's in your neighborhood. irgpt.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Digging in my yard, trying to lay a pipe. I hit a water line and now I have to pay a big fine. I should have called 811.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Cascade Machinery and Electric, family-owned in the Pacific Northwest's industrial machinery expert for over 100 years, is hiring outside sales representatives in Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. If you're an experienced seller of industrial equipment, highly motivated, and can manage your own territory, this role is for you. The salary is competitive, commission uncapped, and benefits are great. Visit cascade-machinery.com/careers and apply today. Cascade Machinery and Electric, powering the Pacific Northwest since 1918.
Thinking about a new roof or exterior upgrade, but worried about the cost? This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. We've created our summertime savings event to make it simple and affordable. Save up to $3,000 off your exterior project or get 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. And every qualifying GAF roof is backed by our lifetime Golden Pledge warranty. One call gets you started. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today. Held to a higher standard since 1968.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-900-1717. 800-900-1717. 800-900-1717.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We spent almost the entire break talking about Jimothy.
Yeah, he's appearing on the timeline today.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to it. If you don't know who Jimothy is, you're in
Open
luck.
your phone.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Open
don't
your
look
phone.
at it. We'll tell you who Jimothy is, but
He's everywhere.
He's
Truly, he's everywhere.
Who's the most important Mariner in the second half? 866-979-3776. The 425 already said Jimothy Charbonnet. All right. Who's the most important Mariner in the second half? I have some answers from listeners, but I'm going to let the text continue to flow in while you're giving your answer. Curtis, who's the most important Mariner?
Most important Mariner is who has been the most important Mariner in the second half for the last 4 seasons. It's Julio Rodriguez. It's second half Julio. It's the guy who somehow every summer morphs into a baseball god in the season's final months, and the Mariners need that guy in the absolute worst way, maybe more so than in any other previous season.
Totally agree.
If they want to get to where they want to go, second half Julio needs to get here now. And I get that he's coming off the concussion IL, and that's a really tough spot to be in, but it's got to be him. Because he has shown this year that there is still a superstar level player within him, especially in the month of May when he went double-digit home runs. But of all the guys on this roster who can get to that level, he's the one that I have the most faith in right now that can play at that level for a sustained period of time.
It's my answer as well, and it's for 2 reasons. One, before Cal went on an unreal historic season last year, we were talking about Julio heading into the season. And it was, oh my God, can he start off hotter? Can he finally make himself part of the MVP conversation? Can he be more consistent? Can he meet the moment with these clutch opportunities? And the reason that we were having that conversation before last year, and frankly, in several of the previous seasons, is because Julio has that ceiling. We weren't talking about Cal hitting 60 home runs because it just wasn't something that was part of Cal's profile. We're talking about whether Julio can make the case for an MVP because he is that talented. It's not to take away from Cal. It's not to take away from anyone else. But this is one of your top prospects and has been a star in baseball. But the story of his career has been that he starts out a little bit slow, and then he goes on a tear, and it's never quite enough to mount like a real MVP case. Another part of his career has been, he just doesn't meet the moment. Like in the most clutch opportunity he has, he like chases a slider low and away or whatever. The second reason is that I just don't know that Cal can be who you need him to be. I think oblique injuries are really, really tough. And the way it's been explained to me 1,000,005 times, whether it's you, Curtis, or whether it's any other analyst, is like, if your swing is messed up from forcing things, getting an injury, that timing is so hard to fix. And while 4 days off can help you rest a bit physically, can help you mentally reset, can help you kind of check in on, the rest of your team and kind of, get like mentally ready for the the second run of the season, it's not going to fix everything you need to work on. I think Cal Raleigh is still a special player. I think he can still be the best catcher in baseball. Absolutely. I don't know that version of Cal's coming this year. And I'm not talking about last year's version. I'm talking the version of Cal we saw over the previous 3 seasons. I think a version of Cal you can get is someone who is maybe feeling hopefully a little more confident, regardless of that. Finding a way to try to get more contact. You'll still need to add more power no matter what. That just has to be part of the formula. Be a good leader. Be great defensively. Make sure everyone's on the same page. Have great body language. Be totally bought in. Get people on board. You're a leader on this team. Like, I don't know what your confidence level is like right now because I can't imagine how hard it is to be in that place. But you have to lead, and you have to be a point person for this team. That's, I think, Cal's role in the second half. Ideally, it's more, but that's what I think it is. And because of that, I'm looking at Julio hitting 320 over his career in August. At Julio hitting almost 300 over the post-All-Star break in his career. That's career average. That's not just last season. It's not just a one-off. He is a 320 hitter in August over the last several years.
Large sample size.
And he does it not just by hitting home runs, which I also really like. He also has, I know the post All-Star break's a little bit shorter than before the All-Star break, but he actually has more home runs before the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, over the course of his career, he's got more contact. And I think that's something the Mariners could desperately use with their struggles with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, we're looking at about 170 game sample size, 180 game sample size. So basically a full season of second half Julio in August and September and parts of July. In those 180 games or so, he's hit, 47 home runs in those basically more than a full season's worth of games. So you're looking at a 162 game average of 41 home runs or whatever. Like that is MVP level play from Julio Rodriguez in the second half. And it stinks that every year we have to wait for second half Julio to get here. And then also the expectation of him performing in August and in September is something we're all kind of banking on. And maybe it's not fair that if he doesn't live up to what he has been in the past, then obviously it's going to be a big disappointment. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. This is who you are, man.
This is who the team is.
Yeah, and this is what they've needed desperately. This year kind of reminds me of. It was the year after they had made the postseason in 2023. So it was the year with Teoscar Hernandez. And they caught fire in August. I think they won 22 games or something in that month. And it was Julio and it was Teoscar Hernandez. And those two guys were carrying the offense for that entire month. Unfortunately, they fell a couple games short of making it to the playoffs that year.
Well, the division was also significantly better.
Right, you had Houston and Texas, who were really good teams, and Texas ended up winning the World Series that year. But, you need a run like that. The Mariners, every year that they have, had this core group of Julio and Cal and the pitching that they've had, they have had a run in just about every year. Last year, it was at the very end of the season.
This has been the most competitive stretch of Mariners baseball since the 90s.
Right. So last year, it was September to the end of the season where I think they won 17 of 18 at one point after having a horrible stretch where they got swept by the Rays and were completely uncompetitive in that series. So they won 17 of 18 at one point to basically finish off the season. In 23, we mentioned the month of August where they, went gangbusters. In 22, they won 14 games in a row. So they have needed that sustained stretch of just red hot play to get to where they've wanted to go. We've all kind of waited for it. Hopefully it wasn't that 8-game win streak we saw earlier this season, because if that was it, it's going to be really tough, I think, for them to surpass the Rangers and then also put a bit of distance between themselves and Texas.
Let me read you a couple other names from texters. Brandon Donovan.
Can you bank on him being back, though?
I don't think so. I like the answer and I understand the answer, but he's not part of the equation. I like, to me, in the same way, but I totally get where the listener's coming from. In an ideal world, he's like the cherry on top answer for the second half to me.
Yeah.
With Julio being the actual Sunday. Joe in Bellevue, Dan Wilson. I love that answer.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to show that, these moments are not too big for him. He's got to show that there's an adaptability to him rather than just kind of sticking to his guns and sticking to what he feels is best. Maybe adapt a little bit here.
Kevin in the 253, JP Crawford. He's always been the glue of this team. His leadership and focus is going to be tested.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to get much else out of JP over the season's final couple of months. I think JP kind of is who he is at this point, but yeah, they're going to need guys in that clubhouse to rally everybody to give them a boost.
Yeah.
So sure, I think he does have an importance for sure.
What I love about this answer from the 253 is that they have a text from a couple days ago that I thought was their answer. That's Hisashi Iwakuma, but their actual answer
I don't think
is
he's
Josh
around
Naylor.
the organization.
No,
much
but
anymore.
that was clearly an answer to like something else we were talking
Probably a
about,
trivia question
or that they
or
were talking about on Brock and Salk. But I initially read what? But no, Josh Naylor is their answer.
He was that energy guy last year in the second half. He was.
Yeah, you need better body language. You need
Yes.
energy right now, and I know that's so hard to generate, but
he had so many moments where they needed a big hit, and he got it last year, and we just haven't seen that version of him.
Well,
so, yeah, we need 2025 Josh Naylor.
and it needs to come from someone, because respectfully, like, it's not going to be your pitching staff. It's
Right.
not going to be Cal, who's always been kind of serious and introverted. Like, it's not. You need a Naylor, just like
Yeah.
you needed a Gino. You need a Julio.
You need a vibes guy.
That's the thing. There was like, it's okay for a player, even a leader, to not bring that, but you need it to come from someone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be JP? Is it going to be? I think Julio is who it has to be. But you're right. Naylor was a huge part of that last year. He just had an edge that he brought to this team. Would love to see more of that. Back-to-back football here. Coming up at 11, Derrik Klassen joining the show as we preview the Seahawks season. Before we get to that, the one thing Matt Hasselbeck is most excited to see this year, next.
Back on February 8th, the countdown started at 167 days.
3, 2, 1.
Right after the clock showed zeros.
The Seahawks win Super Bowl 60.
Now we're less than 2 weeks away. 8 days until Seahawks training camp begins.
We know that we're target number 1 now.
And nobody covers Seahawks training camp like the home of the Super Bowl champs, Seattle Sports.
Every family has a story to tell. At Dunn Lumber, ours is about trust. During the Great Depression, trust was hard to come by. People were so skeptical of banks. Customers would stop by the lumberyard, put their money in an envelope, and leave it in this safe. The safe still stands today as a symbol of our most valuable asset, your trust. If there's ever anything we can do to better earn your trust, email me personally. Mike Dunn at DunnLumber.com.
Dunn Lumber, building trust since 1907.
Klein Jewelers is all about celebrating big anniversaries. What's a big anniversary? Year 1, year 5, year 25. If you forgot about it, you'll find out just how big it is. No matter the year, Klein Jewelers is here to help you celebrate with something beautiful. Maybe it's a 3-stone ring that honors your past, present, and future. Maybe it's a new band to stack or the diamond upgrade you've been dreaming about. And while we love anniversaries, we're here for all life's special moments too. Klein Jewelers by the Fountain in downtown Edmonds. Your jeweler for life.
It's summertime and the living is easy. If you're like me, you're spending nights on the patio listening to the game and enjoying what makes our area so beautiful. Dave Wyman here, and I have just the offer for you to get the most out of your outdoor living space. $500 off each window, $750 off patio and entry doors, and $200 off the final project. I've loved working with Harley Exteriors. They're a local company right here in Bothell, down-to-earth people who enjoyed the same things we all do, rooting on our local teams and doing the best job we possibly can day in and day out. Use Harley Exteriors to complete your home space and receive 12 or 18-month promotional financing.
Qualified buyers only. Subject to credit approval and lender terms. Minimum purchase of 4 qualifying windows required. Windows must be 36 by 36 inches or larger. No size minimum on patio or entry doors. Financing subject to approved credit. Offers cannot be combined with other promotions. Offer expires July 31st, 2026.
Go to HarleyExteriors.com SpaWarehouse.com.
Ready to relax, unwind, and feel your best? The Spa Warehouse Summer Savings Expo is on now. Enjoy big savings on in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Hot tubs start as low as $3,999 with savings up to $3,000 on select models. Score incredible deals on in-stock swim spas. Save up to $7,700. Plus, interest-free financing through 2028 on approved credit. The expo ends July 31st. Don't delay. Your best life starts at the Spa Warehouse.
It's Grid City Harley's pre-owned black and orange tag sale this week. There's hundreds of Harleys tagged with liquidation pricing. Good credit, bad credit, or no credit. 100% of applications accepted. Save thousands this week. Only at Grid City Harley's pre-owned black and orange tag sale. It ends this Sunday.
With approved credit. Wayscar Ford is celebrating their 104th birthday in Auburn. How's that possible? It's all about the people, employees and customers just like you and me. The Wayscarf Way, 104 years of service, trust, and community. Wayscarford.com. That's Wayscarford.com.
Step inside and let the excitement take you places. This is Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the ultimate spot for action that reaches incredible heights, luxury that knows no bounds, and live entertainment that always thrills. It's all at one incredible destination. So when you look for the best, look nowhere else. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest. Muckleshoot.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The sounds of summer. They're great until they're not. Luckily, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging.
Let me check that for you.
To help make a rough moment smooth. Don't miss the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone. Free products with select deals until July 27th. And free services every day. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What's something you're most excited to see this year for the Mariners? Or excuse me, for the Seahawks. This is what happens when I switch back and forth between the two. For the Seahawks, Curtis, something you're most excited to see.
Most excited to see?
Yeah, just first thing that comes to mind where you're like, I can't wait to see this in week 1 and kind of throughout the season.
I'm excited to see what Jerry Price looks like out there. I think he's going to surprise people. I know people have been down on the Seahawks running back room, but I think he is going to have a good NFL career, and I think this season he's going to play well.
I am most excited to see how Sam Darnold evolves because I think a lot of the doubt, even people say it explicitly and some don't, is about Sam Darnold and just the idea that last year can't be repeatable, which is ironic because last year was kind of a repetition of the wins he had the year prior. But Matt Hasselbeck was on with Wyman and Bob and talked about the thing he's most excited to see this year. Sam Darnold is half of it, but the other half is Rashid Shaheed.
The thing that I would say that I'm most excited about for Sam is him having a full kind of off season, a normal schedule calendar with Rashid Shaheed. I thought that was probably one of the weaknesses of the passing game, was just that those two guys were so close, but not quite there yet, with chemistry and sort of route running and just being on the same page. And so if those two guys can click the way that he's obviously clicked with everybody else, I think that's a very, very exciting thing.
Did you know, Curtis, that two of the three best games for Rashid last year in terms of total yardage came when he was still with New Orleans?
Ooh.
You probably wouldn't be surprised. He was a massive impact after the deadline. Great personality, really likable, but it felt like most of his impact was on special teams. Right. And JSN continued to get the lion's share of the targets. And what was working for the Seahawks in the second half, rather than the passing game continuing to be incredibly explosive, was that the run game took off.
Yeah.
So they didn't need Rashid Shaheed to be a superstar. But you know what I'm thinking? If Rashid Shaheed hadn't come here, now I don't know if the Seahawks would have gotten to the Super Bowl. His returns on special teams, including that pivotal Thursday night game against the Rams, were huge. But let's say that they did. If they were to sign Rashid Shaheed as a free agent in the offseason, I feel like they'd be getting credit for adding Rashid Shaheed. Meanwhile, having added him at the midseason trade, he's not really part of a national conversation about what could take this team to an even greater place.
Yeah. You look at Shaheed's numbers last year, and you could tell that he was definitely not – I mean, I wouldn't say that, not vibing with Sam Darnold, but the timing was definitely off. There were 12 games he appeared in with the Seahawks a year ago. 8 of those games, he had either 0 receptions or 1 reception. So 8 of his 12 games as a Seahawk, he contributed very little in terms of receiving. Now, he did have the 3 return touchdowns.
Massive contributions on special teams.
He had the one against the Rams, he had one against the Falcons, and then one in the playoffs against the 49ers.
Each one either got them back in after the second half or set the tone.
Right. So they were hugely impactful in that way. But, yeah, in the passing game, he needs to get going, because you look at what he was able to do in New Orleans last year, his targets every game with the Saints, 9, 5, 6, 5, 5, 6, 9, 12, and 9. He didn't have a single the most targets he had in a Seahawks uniform was 7 in their win against the Colts. And then the week prior, he had 5 in a game against the Falcons. So those were the 2 games where he got involved the most last year. But it just was not hitting the way it was when he was with the Saints. Now, obviously, JSN's presence here in Seattle probably eased his workload a little bit. Wasn't asked to do as much compared to what he did in New Orleans last year. But, yeah, you're going to need Rashid Shaheed to be probably your number 2 receiver this year.
And I know that someone could say, well, Clint Kubiak was a great coordinator and went on to become a head coach with Vegas. Like, if he couldn't figure it out, is a first-time play caller going to figure it out? But I think part of it is also Shaheed. And I don't say that as a dig, but rather he didn't have an offseason with his team. He didn't have an offseason with Sam. Like, part of it is him having a little more control over the work he's getting in and how comfortable he feels. The 253, speaking of Fleury, says, I'm freaking stoked to watch this Brian Fleury offense. And also nervous. I totally understand, which is why, good for you. I have some cuts from Matt Hasselbeck talking about it.
It's really important to get it right, who your play caller is going to be. But I think Mike McDonald, kind of like this in Mike I Trust situation, I think he got it right. I didn't know too much about Brian Fleury. A lot of people that I know in coaching have coached with him back when he was a young coach, speak highly of him. But really, I got to talk to him and spend a good amount of time. Actually, it was me, him, and Brock Heward. And I don't know, I just came away really, really impressed. And I think he's ready for the moment.
A little more here.
There's a humility that you can sense in him, where he's willing to change in some ways, and say verbiage as an example, like, hey, you guys, it's easier if I just change and then you guys all stay the same. Like, I'll do the hard work. And then there's other things where it's like, no, here's where I know we can get better, and here's what I've been dreaming of doing if I ever got this opportunity, and using his experiences, whether it was in San Fran or all the way back to Miami or like wherever.
I don't know how Brian Fleury is going to be as a play caller, Curtis. I'm impressed with his background. Love anyone from the Shanahan coaching tree, but I will say to Matt's point that an offensive coordinator who's willing to adapt is a good offensive coordinator, and it's something that Grubb struggled with.
Yes. Yeah, Ryan Grubb was he was who he was that entire season in 2024, and we didn't see a lot of variance from, what I think McDonald wanted compared to what Grubb was calling offensively. I always find it funny that the Seahawks have gone twice in a row now to guys from the Shanahan coaching tree when that's the one offense that Mike McDonald absolutely feasts against. Where, last year, the 49ers,
Get this guy in here.
I think the 49ers last year scored, I want to say 26 points combined in their 3 games against the Seahawks. I think they had 17 in week 1, 6 in the wild card game, or not the divisional round game, and then 3 in week 18. That offense Mike McDonald owns, and yet he twice in a row now he's like, get me that guy.
That's a good question for once we get to camp.
Yeah.
Let's ask Brian Fleury about it. Today's pitching matchup brought to you by Eastside Exterminators. Bryce Miller gets the nod for the Mariners tonight. First pitch at 7:10 against Giants righty Landon Roop. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus, sticking with the Seahawks next and bringing on Derrik Klassen.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break. Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
For those diagnosed with anxiety, depression, or PTSD, Northwest Ketamine Clinics wants you to know there is hope. After only 3 weeks of treatment, 86% of patients report a reduction in symptoms. For Melissa, treatment gave her confidence.
Before I found Northwest Ketamine Clinics, I was hopeless. I have done individual therapy on and off since I was 16. When I called Northwest Ketamine Clinics, it was immediately like, this is what we do, this is why it's safe. 2 months after I started ketamine, I just got a wild hair and was like, I'm gonna do jujitsu. My other friends are just really glad that I found something that works.
Everyone's path to healing is different. Schedule a free consultation today to find out if ketamine therapy is right for you. They have immediate availability, so you can get started this week. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest's most experienced ketamine center. Book a free phone or video consult at nwketamineclinics.com. Healing starts here.
At Seattle Children's Hospital, 1 in 3 patient families can't afford the food their kids need to heal. A child recovering from surgery and the family struggling to put nutritious food on the table. That's why Seattle Children's, Safeway, and Seahawk, Jackson Smith and Jigba launched the Food First Project to fight pediatric food insecurity by providing grocery cards, produce vouchers, and food as medicine programs for families. No barriers, just help. 12s, we need you. Learn more at Safeway.com. Again, that's Safeway.com.
Nearly 1 in 4 people killed on the road in Washington weren't driving. Pedestrians on our roads are incredibly vulnerable, whether they're facing drunk, drugged, drowsy, or distracted drivers. Pedestrians are defenseless on our streets. That's why Davis Law Group fights for pedestrian accident victims and their loved ones after a crash. Davis Law Group delivers. So if you or a loved one have been injured, call Davis Law Group today at 206-888-8888 or visit DavisLawGroupSeattle.com.
Looking for a new Mazda? Check out Mazda of Everett during the More to Move You
new sales event. As the West Coast's largest Mazda dealer, they have over 700 new Mazdas in stock and are known for always offering the Mazda of Everett price. Awarded Mazda's President's Award 13 years in a row and ranked among the top 20 Mazda dealers in the USA for customer service. Shop at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett or MazdaofEverett.com. Dealer awards and rankings based on Mazda USA reporting and data.
Ichiro is back, and he's trading base hits for long balls. 50 season celebration weekend kicks off with the all-new Alumni Home Run Derby presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. On Friday, August 7th, after the team takes on the Rays, see Ichiro step up to the plate against other former Mariners sluggers.
Ichiro has beaten Mariners with a game-winning home run.
Seats are going fast. Get yours at mariners.com/tickets.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can be financially draining too. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $3 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can make a direct impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel and Spa in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners make their return from the All-Star break tonight with the series at home against the Giants. Bryce Miller gets the start. First pitch coming your way at 7:10 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 6 p.m. on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Joining us now, talking Seahawks and taking a look around the NFL, it's the Athletic Football Show's Derrik Klassen. Derrik, how's it going?
I'm doing really well. It's nice to see you guys again.
We're happy to have you on. I'm going to dive right into, it's a weird place to start, but so that you know, we were just having a conversation about an interview that our colleagues had with Matt Hasselbeck. And Matt said that the thing he's most excited to see this year is how new offensive coordinator Brian Fleury incorporates Rashid Shaheed. And I was just thinking, you know what? If the Seahawks signed Rashid Shaheed as a free agent, I think we'd be like, oh my God. Speed demon, you know, they're really excited about this signing. But last year on offense, they couldn't quite figure out how to work him in. I don't know how much Seahawks tape you've gone back and watched that included Shaheed, but what sometimes doesn't click when you're working in a new receiver, and what can guys work on in the offseason?
Yeah, I wonder how much of that was, you know, obviously they bring in Rashid Shaheed halfway through the year, and his whole thing is, like you said, speed demon. So, like, just whether that's with the ball in his hands, whether it's without, and he's being a field stretcher, I think a lot of that is obviously a huge element of what he does. At the same time, I felt like the back end of last year, they did lean a little bit more into trying to be more of like a run-heavy offense. The run game really started clicking, and I think they made a little bit more of a concerted effort to keep their bigger bodies on the field. And Rashid Shaheed isn't tiny, but his game is not really being a guy who, you know, he's not quite like a Wan'Dale Robinson where he's like 5'9", but, you know, 5'11", 180. He's not a guy who's really going to bully people around. He's not that useful as a blocker. And I think with as much of their run game being like very perimeter focused, I think that they just struggled a little bit trying to figure out like how much of our like base, you know, core of our offense can he be in if we're trying to make it as run heavy as we are. And so I still expect the offense to be run heavy and for them to try to find new ways to work Rashid Shaheed in. But I think a lot of it was probably came down to that.
Derrik, the Seahawks had quite a few departures this offseason. Ken Walker on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side, Kobe Bryant's gone, Boye Mafe's gone, Riq Woolen's gone. Which side of the ball do you think will have a harder time replacing the production of the veteran that they lost?
Oh, that's a good. I would probably say that it's going to be in the secondary because like they signed Dante Fowler to replace Boye Mafe, and I don't think Dante Fowler at this stage in his career is quite the pass rusher that Boye Mafe is. But I don't think losing Mafe, you lose much in run defense. Like they still have a ton of guys who can set the edge incredibly well, and I do think that Fowler is still a pretty useful piece when it comes to rushing the passer. So I think they'll be fine there. I think Josh Jobe played fine last season. And I think he played fine in a specific role, but I still think that Riq Woolen is kind of underrated. And you remember some of his mess ups almost in the same way that like Jordan Love is actually a way better and more consistent quarterback than you realize. His interceptions are just the worst thing you've ever seen. Riq Woolen sort of has that effect to him. So I actually think replacing him there is going to hurt. And then, Ty Okada, I think played really well when he had to step into the lineup last year. But there's a difference from a player like that stepping in and playing well versus like, oh, he's our week one starter. Now, if we have to pick into depth, it's these rookies that we're not sure if they have played. And so I think with as complex as the defense is, especially on the back end, I think making sure that they're really buttoned up there, I'm a little bit more, have some questions there in terms of the talent.
Hey, I want to ask what you still see as very clear strengths that Seattle still has, especially when you're getting into debates about, not whether they're better than the Rams. Like, I would totally forgive anyone for saying, oh, my God, this Rams team might be the best I've seen assembled on paper. Like, I completely understand. But what case could you still make as someone who watches a ton of football, writes about football, that the Seahawks are a massive threat with the Rams, this year's Rams team considered?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to me is when I think of why that defense was so good outside of whatever Mike McDonald is bringing, it's because that front just had incredible depth and they had really, really good linebacker play. That is as true this year as it was last year. Like I said, really the only major piece that they lost up front was Mafe, and I think they replaced him with a fine enough player to slip into his role. And so so long as Ernest Jones continues to play at the level that he did, and, DeMarcus Lawrence, I know he's getting a little bit older, but if he continues to play at that level, like, I still think that this is at minimum a top 3 front in the NFL, especially when you're really considering depth, not even just the top line guys. I think that always gives them a reason to be incredibly scary. And then I think the other thing that I would add in is like you had a pretty young offensive line last year. Abe Lucas and Charles Cross, I know, are going into their 4th and 5th years, but you had a very young interior. And so I think getting Zabel a little bit more healthy, giving him another year in the offense. AJ Barner is, not an offensive lineman, but he's one of your inline guys. Getting another year for him where I thought he really stepped up last year as a receiver in a way that he didn't quite as a rookie. If he can take another step, I know they lost Kenneth Walker, but it still feels like they have enough young pieces on the offense, and then their dominant defensive line is still back. You win in the trenches, you can kind of win everywhere else in the modern NFL.
Derrik, one guy on that Seahawks defense that has gotten a lot of praise this offseason is Nick Emanwori, who had a fantastic rookie season. It feels like everybody, when they talk about the Seahawks defense, he's one of the first guys that they mention and just kind of how versatile he is. When you look at his game and entering year 2, what are some areas that you want to see him improve upon and build off of what was kind of a breakout season for him last year?
Yeah, I think whenever we think about his versatility, I think a lot of that comes down to I think it's less about where you can align him than I think that we thought coming out. Like, I think when he came out, it was like, oh, you can play him at nickel, you can play him at deep safety, you can do all this stuff. I still think that when he's playing truly from depth, like as a hash safety and all that stuff, I still think that some of the angles he takes and how long it takes him to trigger on some stuff takes some time, which is why I think, when they really kicked into gear with him, it was him really playing as more of just like a pure flat controller player. And he was like, the angles are shorter. He's incredibly he's incredibly fast to click and close on that stuff. I think they simplified his role in a way that made it really, really easy for him. So I would say if they really want to open up the toolbox with him and make him truly on the level of like a Derwin James or a Kyle Hamilton or something like that, it would be getting him to shore up some of his vision, some of the angles that he takes from whenever it is that they do have him in more of a deep position.
Now, last year became a conversation about the battle between the Rams and Seahawks, meeting each other 3 times. Also meeting each other 3 times, though, the Seahawks and 49ers. I think that they weren't part of the conversation of, oh, these are obviously the 2 best teams because they were so banged up. But, Derrik, tell us what to expect from the 49ers this year.
I think the 49ers are going to be really, really good. It's
devastating.
It is. The NFC West is incredible. Sorry, Cardinals, but the other 3 teams, I think you could convince me any of those 3 teams could win 13 games and be the best team in the division. And the Niners, the fact that they won as many games as they did last year with as banged up as they were, and the run game not even really being that good. I know Christian McCaffrey had a ton of volume, but I think the offensive line was kind of up and down, and it really was a lot of them just kind of going pedal to the metal with how good the passing game was. I do think that the passing game can continue to be really, really impressive. And I say that especially now because obviously you bring in Mike Evans, who I kind of think X receivers are really going to have a major comeback with just the way the defenses are playing. And Evans, I think, is obviously a great guy for that, but now they have depth with Christian Kirk, DeJon Stribling. So I know there's a little bit of worry about George Kittle, but I just think the receiving core is deep. Purdy's playing well. Christian McCaffrey is still very good. So I think the offense probably going to be top 5. The defense, I think you have to sell yourself a little bit, but they were so banged up last year. I mean, Fred Warner barely played. Nick Bosa barely played. They had a number of other guys up front, including their first-round pick, Mykal Williams, was not able to play most of the season. Even if the biggest improvements are just getting Fred Warner and Nick Bosa back to 85%, you add that on top of Oso Odigizua being traded for, I think that there's a chance that this defense gets closer to average again, because I think the secondary actually played well last year. The front was just so bad you never got to see the fruits of it. And so I think if they can be the 14th best defense and the offense is what we think they are, again, that's a team that can win 11, 12 games and be really, really dangerous.
Derrik, I can think of where you might be going with it, but out of curiosity and because I think it's interesting, can I ask to follow up on why you think X receivers are going to have a comeback?
Yes, so we actually on the Athletic Football Show, we had a conversation about where defense has been heading. We had Cody Alexander of MatchQuarters.com to help us do that, and we were just talking about with teams playing as much quarters coverage as they are, a lot of times in those coverages, especially if you're playing 3-by-1 on the offense, whoever that weak side safety is in quarters, away from the 3 receivers side, because you only have 1 receiver to his side, the defense will let him what's called poach, which is basically look back to the strong side and not really care about the single receiver to his side. Well, if that's going to be the case, well, now we've got one-on-one coverage with this corner. And if I've got a Mike Evans, a Jamar Chase, a Julio Jones type of receiver, that guy's just going to be able to run whatever route he wants, especially down the field. And I think offenses are a little bit privy to that being a way to expose them. And the game that I brought up, and I know the Seahawks were banged up in this game at a number of positions, but the Bucs, I thought, actually did a really good job of exposing that weak safety and really finding ways to draw him out of the deep portion they wanted so they could throw over the top of his head. So I think that is the reason I would say they're kind of coming back.
Well, one team that did add an X receiver this year, Derrik, is the Patriots and A.J. Brown. That's the Seahawks' Week 1 opponent. Does A.J. Brown's acquisition narrow the gap between the 2 teams? The Seahawks pretty much had their way with them in the Super Bowl. How do you see, that matchup? We're still 2 months away from Week 1 of the NFL. We need you to break down everything that we're going to see
Score
Week
prediction.
1. But how do you evaluate the Patriots coming into this season?
Yeah, I do think it closes the gap a little bit because it's funny, everything I just mentioned with, X receivers and trying to target that backside safety and get those one-on-ones, the Patriots were good at doing that as an offense last year. It's just they were doing that with, Kayshon Boutte, and I think given their schedule that they were playing, that was good enough for that. That's not good enough to do it against teams like the Seahawks. A.J. Brown very obviously gives you the caliber of player that can actually make a lot of those plays, and so I think he helps you there. Romeo Doubs also, I think, a pretty nice signing for them. I think he almost went under the radar because he's kind of a boring-ish, not explosive player, and then everybody knew they were going to trade for A.J. Brown. But I think bringing in those guys just, extremely raises the floor of this offense. And so I'm really excited for what the offense can be. I also think it's going to be a little bit different. Like the other underrated signing, they brought in Reggie Gilliam, the fullback from the Buffalo Bills. Josh McDaniels has always been like a, put a fullback on the field kind of guy. So I really think they're going to try to mash teams and then just play bully ball with their receivers and Romeo Doubs and A.J. Brown. And then the defense. I think some of the resurgence they had at the end of last year was kind of real. I don't expect them to be elite, but if they can be the 10th, 11th best defense and the offense continues to be what it's going to be, I'm full steam ahead on Drake May, and I think they did everything they needed to make sure that he can play like an MVP again.
Hey, Derrik, my last question is about a question, and here's why I'm asking. I'm sure we'll have you on again on the show. We absolutely love having you on as a guest, but I don't know when that's going to be, and training camp starts in a week. We're going to get our first look, really, at Brian Fleury and his offense and just how he operates for an extended period, and then obviously we'll start the season with a lot of questions. It's almost like I'm asking advice. What would your primary question be about a new offensive coordinator, and what would you be looking for?
Oh, man, I think that's a good question. I think for me, it's probably going to come down to actually what you said at the top of like, how are they going to work in some of the thinner receivers on this team? Because I think a lot of these teams that want to be more run focused are more involved with these heavier bodies. But Rashid Shaheed and Torrey Horton, was like, I think had some really impressive moments last year. So I think trying to figure out what they want to do with the receiver rotation. And because, maybe if Horton, continues to play well, maybe they feel they're deeper at receiver and they actually go to more 11 personnel. I think kind of how that's going to shake out. And then what they want to do with Jadarian Price, I think is kind of where I'm at. Obviously, he's not the same style of player as Kenneth Walker, but Price is going to have to play a pretty outsized role pretty early. And so what they actually want to do with him and how much they think that he can handle out of the gate, I think are some pretty big questions.
He is Derrik Klassen. You guys can hear more from him on the Athletic Football Show, wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. Derrik, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Derrik.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacy filling in for Bump today. First down. Rookies are reporting to camp today. That's crazy.
I know.
Here, basically. Which rookie will you be watching most closely this August?
I have a boring answer. What do you think my answer is?
Jadarian Price.
It is Jadarian Price. But I think it's the right answer. Bud Clark is a personal favorite.
Yeah.
Like, he's so fun. He has a ton of energy. I loved our interview with him. And I always love it when a rookie doesn't know that he's not supposed to say a ton yet. So you get a lot of really great natural feedback in interviews.
Yeah.
It's so great. And that's what it felt like it was with Bud Clark, just the nicest kid. You've got other guys, though, in that room. Nick Emanwari, Julian Love. Like, if Bud Clark doesn't become an All-Pro, it's okay. If Jadarian Price doesn't make an impact in his rookie season, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of depth or experience in that room. And I don't mean that room can't be good. Emmanuel Wilson, maybe he ends up being phenomenal. George Halani, maybe he ends up being great. I genuinely hope that's the case. I mean it. But the Seahawks are clearly betting on Price packing a punch in his first season. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. But this isn't a guy either who's going to get away with 400 yards as a backup and 5 touchdowns. No, you're going to have to be the dude or certainly part of a really effective kind of 2 running back. I don't know when Charbonnet's coming back. I don't know when that's going to end up working out. It might be a while.
Who knows?
But you have no choice but to be impactful your rookie season. And so what we see from him early, I think, is just going to carry more weight.
I believe Charbonnet is going to get an update here within the next couple of weeks. I think that was what Jeremy Fowler had said a few weeks ago. So hopefully we'll get a better read on when Charbonnet could be back. Second down. Stacey, what quote did you love hearing from Mike Macdonald recently?
The Athletics, Vic Tafur has a great interview with Mike Macdonald from the golf tournament that he was just at. And there's a lot of good stuff, including some classics like I don't care, I really don't care, stuff about what the Rams have done. But there was one part in particular that I liked, and it was when he said, quote, "a million things had to go right," end quote, for the Seahawks last season. And it's why, this is Vic writing, and it's why he doesn't spend much time worrying about how tough the division or the NFC West is. I think that struck me because it's a reminder of how much is out of your control and that there's anything that's possible. You can construct an amazing team. And you can think this about yourself, too. I don't think it's just looking at the Rams going, well, maybe it doesn't work out for them. It's looking at your own team going, there's a lot of things that have to go right to make it to a Super Bowl. And if you can't really control that, and if the only way you can do anything with it is to just be ready at all times, then that's what you control. So I just thought it was a reminder of a head coach being very aware that luck and chance and the ball bouncing your way, whether it's with injuries or random plays, is part of the recipe, but also acknowledging you have zero control over it. And I don't know, I thought that was really insightful and self-aware.
Third down. So we're still going with this NFL Top 100 list. I remember
We're still doing that?
I remember when they used to do it like 20 at a time, and it'd last about a week. But no,
now
they're going
it's
like
10.
They're going like one a day. It feels like.
Yes. Chunks of 10.
We're only down to number 60, and it was something that obviously Seahawks fans want to pay attention to. But why is the most recent unveil potentially bad for the Seahawks?
So it's bad, but with like for the list itself, not in like a season's over. It's certainly not that serious. You mentioned number 60, Ravens All-Pro safety Kyle Hamilton came in at number 60 on today's list. He was the newest name. Around, I don't know, when it got to pick like 80-something, it was another safety, and I can't remember who it was, but I remember thinking, oh my gosh. Oh, it was Carson Schweizinger. And I wish I always say his name wrong. Yeah, and I remember thinking, wow, I wonder if Nick Emenwari is going to make this list. And it's so interesting because Carson won Defensive Rookie of the Year, but what if Nick comes in, ranks higher on this one? And I don't know that he's going to show up on it because I don't know that he's going to be higher than Kyle Hamilton. It would be really cool if he was. But Hamilton was number 1 on ESPN's top 10 safeties list earlier this week. I just don't know if Nick Emenwari is going to crack the list in that case. So It's bad, but in a way where it's like you don't really, to quote Mike McDonald, you really don't care.
I am surprised at how few Seahawks have made the top 100 list. And now I believe these surveys were collected midway through last year, or like
it's during the season, because I remember a while ago when I was still a reporter being in the locker room when they were seeing guys vote on it. Yeah.
So maybe this is just a product of the NFL at that time sleeping on the Seahawks, which they still have done.
Yeah, wait till you hear about our fourth down and where a pretty notable name ranked on the list. This one was shocking, jaw-dropping.
Fourth down. Well, sticking with that list, what else have you seen that was crazy?
Lamar Jackson at number 69. And I want to remind everyone, you don't have to think Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in football, even though I think he is, and I don't know why we're still having that debate. Last year he was injured. Like, there was all kinds of other issues there. Number 69? That's a slide of 67 spots, and it means 6'7", and it means that there's going to be a couple quarterbacks on this list where you're like, really? Are we positive? Lamar Jackson was number 2 last year, and he was number 2 the year before that. And he's 69, excuse me. I'm wondering, like, I know that he was absent for a big chunk of the year, but that was with injury. It's not like he had a complete fall off. It just seems like a massive slide.
Yeah, I would say he's in the small handful of quarterbacks that could win you a Super Bowl just based off of talent alone. I know he hasn't done it yet because he's got Patrick Mahomes in his conference, Josh Allen in his conference, Joe Burrow in his conference, but he always just gets disrespected in a way that like those other guys don't. And I get that like mobile quarterbacks have a shorter shelf life than guys who are kind of strictly pocket passers. But I still think Lamar Jackson is good enough of a passer to get you there.
Part of the problem is that people have just assumed, well, Lamar Jackson passes off of being able to sprint outside of the pocket, a la like an RG3 in 2013 kind of thing. Yeah. But that's not really how he plays. Like, yes, he can run, but this guy also had, over the last 2 years prior to this, like a crazy yard touchdown. Yeah. Like, he was right up there with. And what's weird is Jeremy Fowler's top 10 quarterback ranking, he was still very much in there. Now, he slid also in that ranking, and I can understand it, but a slide of 67 spots when you missed a good chunk of the season by injury feels weird. Yeah. Like, it makes me wonder, what people on the inside or even what just lots of players think about him now. I don't know. It's weird. Something to keep an eye on. If you don't know why Jimothy is trending, you will next.
Continuing coverage of the sale of the Seahawks. Breaking it down with a little Dave Wyman Stanford math.
It has exploded from the time when I played. It was $194 million in 97 when they sold it. Reminder that $1 billion is 1,000 million. And so if you take $194 million times 50, that's about what the sale is at. It's a big deal.
The home of your Super Bowl champion Seahawks. Seattle Sports.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales Event going on right now through Sunday, August 2nd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales Event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Longer days, warmer weather, and a stronger you all start at Top Fitness. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and right now, check out the Top Fitness Big Sale in all 3 of their stores. Every category is on sale. Home gyms, weight plates, dumbbells, treadmills, and stair climbers like I've got. Great deals on display models, too. Have a home gym that needs some help? Get your rubber flooring and all the accessories you need. Get into Top Fitness with locations in Tukwila, Linwood, and Bellevue, or visit topfitness.com for more info. That's Top Fitness, your best place for home fitness equipment.
How sweet it is! 50 seasons of moments. 50 seasons of legends. A once-in-a-lifetime event. Join Mariners past and present at T-Mobile Park August 7th through 9th for 50 Season Celebration Weekend. The festivities begin Friday with a post-game slugfest, the Alumni Home Run Derby featuring Ichiro and other former Mariners sluggers, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Saturday will be a showstopper. 50 Season Celebration Night presented by Daktronics. Arrive early to witness the biggest gathering of franchise icons ever assembled as the 50 greatest Mariners from across all 5 decades are revealed.
It just continues.
The weekend wraps up on Sunday with a collectible 50 Seasons pin giveaway thanks to KeyBank. Seats are going fast. Get yours at mariners.com/tickets.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The countdown is on.
Just 8 days
until Seahawks training camp on the home of the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Well, this is pretty fun for me. Normally, Shannon O'Kelly and I are talking physical therapy, but today we are talking First Mark Insurance. You made the call to First Mark. You took the challenge. Why?
Brock, I was looking for a local agency that I could align with similar values, and they've helped us here at IRG. They shop different plans. They find the best plan for you, the best price, the best coverage, great customer service, and great connectivity.
Did they save you any money along the way?
Absolutely, they saved us money. Obviously, here at IRG, I have several needs in the insurance industry, and they look at those needs A to Z, and they find out what kind of coverage you need, what is the best coverage, at what cost, and they're always looking to save money. And again, it's all about providing my company, IRG, great customer service.
Well, Shannon and IRG, they took the challenge. Molly and I, we took the challenge. Are you confident that your business is getting the very best when it comes to your insurance needs? If not, take the First Mark Challenge today, and it's totally free. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com, your teammate that goes to work for you. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Raccoons have gone viral on this show before, but kicking off the timeline, another raccoon in Seattle is making headlines. No, it's not a sports story. Who cares? It's a raccoon story.
It's the timeline. This is the spirit of the segment.
This is the weirdest segment. Seattle residents spotted an unusually shaped creature roaming the Ballard area. It turns out it's a raccoon with a short spine syndrome. His name is Jimothy. If you guys have not seen the raccoon, the best way I can describe it is actually how Curtis did, which is he looks like Quasimodo, like a cartoon Quasimodo. You said he's going to find some church bells.
Yeah, he's just an odd-looking creature.
If you cut out the middle part of his body, if you took a raccoon, cut out the middle third, and then you pasted
he's got all four
outside
legs,
two together.
Yeah, he's just compact.
Yeah.
And he's running on all fours. What weirds me out about this raccoon is how upright he is in his stance.
Yeah.
And, like, I got to be honest, if I saw it coming at me or, like, if I saw it in my yard, I would be concerned.
I would be more afraid than a...
That's more a commentary on myself than it is the raccoon.
I don't think so.
He's just minding his own business.
Well, no, but I think that just as humans, when you see things and you don't know how to recognize it, there's this, like, innate fight or flight reaction that we have. You know what I mean? Like, if I saw an animal that didn't look like it was of this planet, yeah, I'm going to be a little nervous. And like after 30 seconds, I'm going to realize it's just a weird shaped raccoon. But for a brief second there, I'm going to go, this is an alien.
It looks like poorly done AI. It looks like something has glitched in somebody's like AI creation.
Yeah.
But no, it's real because there's actual like accounts of it and people in the Ballard area being like, yeah, I've seen this raccoon.
You know, on Family Guy, when they have the lady that has the really long legs
and no torso?
That's what Jimothy looks like. I love him. The raccoon, the video and photo posted, has garnered more than 5 million views on Instagram since yesterday. So he's famous now.
Yeah, he's
way more famous than us. Like, if anyone thinks we're being mean talking about a raccoon, he's famous, right? He's got endorsements right now.
Yeah, I feel like how do we protect him? Or do we protect him? He's a wild creature.
No, I feel really bad for him. Like, I genuinely...
Do you think fame will change him?
I think as a kid who had a hard time making friends, I look at Jimothy.
You think Jimothy's having a hard time
There was a video someone posted of little Jimothy when he was a little bit younger. Wow. Walking along the top of a fence, and he was just struggling. And I was like, I wonder if his raccoon mom abandoned him.
Oh, no.
Like, he just had to live in this world.
Jimothy's unpacking a lot of childhood trauma.
Yeah, well, no, I am, I think. And I felt like my heart broke. And so I hope that whoever knows this raccoon is giving him a place to live the way my parents did with Lil Rick.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd also like to say, There's already a famous raccoon.
Wow.
Get in line, Jimothy.
Wow.
Get in line.
Wow. Little Rick is kind of old news now. That was, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was maybe 3. It was 2023 Christmas.
Who wins in a fight, Lil Rick or Jimothy?
Well, Lil Rick is a whole raccoon, so I don't know. I mean, Lil Rick has a whole spine
he's
on
an
Jimothy.
able-bodied raccoon?
Well, no, because Lil Rick's problem was that his back leg was messed up.
Oh, that's right.
So they felt bad for him. They started feeding him, and then he just became their cat. But he never came inside the house, but it wasn't without trying.
Yeah.
But Jimothy, there's a sadness to him that didn't exist with Lil Rick. Lil Rick was truly evil. Like, I think Lil Rick was a bad person.
He's a mooch.
No, like I said,
yeah.
he was mooching off my parents. He tricked my parents into feeding him for like 2 years.
Right.
And knocking me out of the will. There's money that could have been spent on me and my sister that was spent on getting him a cat bed. And Jimothy is more of like someone give this raccoon a house.
I just worry that somebody is going to see Jimothy and like take him and make him their pet when it's like, no, Jimothy is a wild animal.
Yeah, Lil Rick was a
leave him
con
alone.
artist.
You can take pictures of Jimothy, but ultimately he belongs to the streets.
I love him. I love him.
I don't know if I love him. I don't know if I do.
It sure sounds like the remaining Mountain West schools are feeling bitter towards the new Pac-12 for poaching a number of football programs. Well. Look who's the villain now.
Oh, how the
turntables. Courtesy of YO Sports' Alex Taylor. Wyoming head football coach Jay Saville, had this to say at Mountain West Media Days. This is about Washington State, and I'll throw in, and also Pullman.
Well, look, I think, first of all, the conference, let's talk about that. Like, for the Mountain West, a year ago, there was just this cloud, right? We come to these media days, and it was like, okay, there's those guys, and then there's these guys, right? And so, like, now we don't have those guys. Like, they're out. They can do whatever. They can go join a team in Pullman, Washington. If you've ever been there, like, what?
Now, Sir,
you're from Laramie, Wyoming.
Laramie, Wyoming.
Which is probably the Pullman of Wyoming.
Literally, they have the same population size. Like, the biggest thing in either of your cities is a Walmart.
Right.
Which I meant that as a shot at both of you, frankly.
So my family has
not a coug.
My family has a lot of history in Laramie, Wyoming. And I've never been, but I've definitely heard many tales about how desolate that place is. I believe on Wyoming football game days, the population of the stadium, like the capacity of the stadium, turns Laramie into like the third or fourth largest city in the state, just on game days.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna, I would simply never make fun of someone for being short. I would choose another angle. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just means nothing coming from me. I'm not gonna land that punch,
Yeah.
and it's because I have tiny arms. And like, this is what he's doing. You are in a glass house, Colin Pullman. Like, if you've ever been there, I could not tell you where Laramie is on a map.
I believe it's
I know
the
it's in
southeastern
Wyoming,
corner.
but who
of
knows for
Wyoming.
sure? Who knows for certain? Who knows?
Well, I just said my family has a lot of history. They lived there for.
But that's the only way you know.
My oldest sister was born there.
Yeah,
actually.
but if that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
you'd have no idea.
Correct.
I hear Laramie.
Yes.
I hear Laramie. I don't think Wyoming. I think Tunsil.
That's a fair point.
You know,
I would say Laramie Tunsil is probably more famous in the city. Yeah.
absolutely more. If you went out to strangers on the street,
Well,
especially
I don't
there's-
know if strangers on the street would know either.
Okay, well, but if you
asked a diehard sports fan when you say the word Laramie,
what
they'd
do you
probably
think of?
be
I'd say
Laramie
Tunsil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd say gas mask. Next up, Georgia Tech head football coach Brent Key was asked about the changing landscape of college football with kids transferring so often. But Key said coaches aren't blameless in this.
You have to be adaptable. Right? You have to be able to change. And like people say, oh, kids are different now. Well, so are the adults. We are too. Right? We're the ones that set the example. But the same guys that want to complain about a lot of the things in college football need to look themselves in the mirror. They're the ones jumping jobs every 2 years too. Let's be real. The adults in the room sometimes end up being the bigger problem. And I'm very transparent with my team about that. We talk very real in terms of that. Look, we're co-workers. There's no dictatorship at Georgia Tech. I'm the head coach. I'm the leader, yes. But we have to work together, and they understand that. It's about the players at Georgia Tech. Always has been and always will be as long as I'm the head football coach there.
Now, I'm sure there's always ulterior motives anytime someone says anything, Curtis, because your primary goal is get recruits, get on the map, get eyes on the program, get money for the program, win games. That being said, he's right. I don't love how often the transfer portal impacts a team's success so drastically from year to year, but coaches do it just as much. You know, in part, why my Huskies fell apart after the national championship game, in addition to losing guys like Michael Penix and Roboduce to the draft. It wasn't just because players entered the portal. They entered the portal because their head coach, their head coach went to Alabama.
I do appreciate his ability to call out his fellow head coaches, especially in a conference like the ACC where you do see a lot of coaching turnover year to year, because the ACC is not the Big Ten. It is not the SEC, and that is usually kind of the proving ground for these coaches before they do eventually take those kinds of jobs. I just hope that Brent Key, saying what he said, actually sticks it out for the long term at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't just
can't do it now.
Like, let's say Georgia Tech wins 9 or 10 ball games this year, and all of a sudden a team like Auburn or a team
clearly a rung up.
Yeah, definitely a rung up in conference. They're like, hey, you want to come coach us?
Yeah,
we'll double your salary.
You can't do it now, man.
Yeah, you have entrenched yourself now at Georgia
or at least you have to see it through, right? Like you have to see
Yeah.
it through and be like, you know, you don't have to spend your entire career somewhere, but like he is right. And it's one of those things that we don't talk about nearly enough, I think, because it's a lot easier to look at the players on the field and say, oh, they're being selfish. And there are times when I fall into that too. And I just think, like, God, this is so annoying. And even Bump, like, who was a player, is like, there's so much you gain as a player by staying in a place and working through that stuff. Like, you become a stronger person. But the coaches are doing it too, and other coaches are not critiquing those guys nearly enough. Time for the IRG injury report, brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Brennan Donovan, with that groin injury, started his rehab assignment earlier this week at the Arizona Complex League. Meanwhile, Julio Rodriguez, who was placed on the IL with a concussion, is expected to be activated as soon as tonight against the Giants. Finally, Mariners GM Justin Hollander will give injury updates to the media later this afternoon. Hear all of them on tonight's pregame show with Shannon Dreyer, starting at 6 p.m. on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. Coming up next, comments from a former GM on why the trade deadline matters, even if there aren't a lot of great options. It's next.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break.
Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Welcome to IRG Sports Injury Update. We're with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist and president of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. And our guest, Rachel Byrne, occupational therapist and clinic director at IRG Center for Structural Medicine, Ballard.
Rachel, welcome. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Tell us about your services as a clinic director, occupational therapist, and what you do with patients.
We offer an alternative approach to healing. For those people who haven't responded to traditional therapies, we're happy to think outside the box and work as a team to get you back to life.
You are a great addition to our IRG family. Your services include bone work, tensegrity. You look at the whole body. So tell us maybe what the ideal patient is and some of the outcomes you've experienced with patients that maybe have struggled in the past.
We work with people who haven't responded well to surgery or pain medication or traditional physical therapy or even occupational therapy approaches. And we look at your body as a whole. So even if you're coming to us with a diagnosis in one area of your body, we look at your whole body. We work with you on ergonomics, stress management, pain management, help you come up with stuff that you can do at home to manage the health of your entire structure. We've been able to help a lot of people get back to their life without pain who have been struggling for a long time and haven't been able to find other things that work. People have better body awareness, and we've got a lot of people coming from all over the state in order to seek the care that our team offers at the clinic.
Well, Rachel, thank you. If you want more information regarding IRG Center for Structural Medicine, you can contact Rachel or get a hold of Rachel and her team at irgpt.com. That's irgpt.com.
With over 40 neighborhood clinics around Washington, IRG has you covered. Let IRG be your family's physical therapist. Find the location nearest you at irgpt.com. That's irgpt.com.
The biggest scuba sale in America starts next Thursday at Underwater Sports in North Seattle. Incredible savings for 3 days only. Divers Fair only happens once each year at Underwater Sports, 107th and Aurora Avenue North.
Every job's different, so why not your equipment plan? Rent it when you need it. Buy it when you're ready. Levitt Machinery makes it easy to get to work. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it, Levitt.
Dave Wyman here. Fast Water Heater has kept our water warm since 1986. That's just before my rookie year. Now they're a part of Fast Home Services, applying that same standard of excellence to your whole house. Plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical. The name you trust to keep your family comfortable, safe, happy, and healthy. Call 1-800-THINK-FAST to book your free in-home estimate. Or visit fasthomeservices.com for a virtual quote in seconds for water heaters, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical services.
For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto Repair has been the one locals trust for honest pricing, expert service, and guaranteed repairs. This dedication has earned them a Carfax Preferred designation. At Bucky's, every customer gets detailed Carfax updates, timely service reminders, and a full service history, all at your fingertips. With 16 family-owned locations, no appointment needed, and easy financing, Bucky's makes auto care simple. Visit Bucky's.com today and drive with confidence. Bucky's.com.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Yay to Bruce, the streaming king.
With quantum fiber internet, he's gonna binge.
He wants more, he's got to have more.
More bedtime true crime.
More podcasts in the shower.
Quantum fiber Wi-Fi has the power. More. Fast internet speed.
He's got the gigs to go big, bring him the games.
Right now.
And his royal we.
More sports non-stop. His quantum fiber's on top. Yay to you.
Switch today at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Ready to relax, unwind, and feel your best? The Spa Warehouse Summer Savings Expo is on now. Enjoy big savings on in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Hot tubs start as low as $3,999 with savings up to $3,000 on select models. Score incredible deals on in-stock swim spas. Save up to $7,700. Plus, interest-free financing through 2028 on approved credit. The expo ends July 31st. Don't delay. Your best life starts at the Spa Warehouse.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis, you found this audio from Theo Epstein on the Lovable Reunion pod. And even though I don't think he's talking about Jerry Dipoto specifically in this moment, it did, I don't want to say remind you of, it did give you a new thought about a very recent quote from Dipoto. So tell us what's going on here.
Yeah. So Epstein was on a podcast, which I believe the Cubs have been doing in, I think this is the 10th year anniversary of their 2016 World Series championship team. So they've had Anthony Rizzo and David Ross host this podcast where they've been bringing back guys from the team. And this week they brought back Theo Epstein to talk about the season. And that Cubs team made quite a few moves at the deadline. I think the biggest of them was adding Aroldis Chapman to be their closer at the end of the season. And so they got to talking about like just what a aggressive trade deadline can do to not just, the results of a team, but also what it can do to a clubhouse. Here was Epstein talking about the impact of all those moves.
Trade deadline acquisitions in general, like from the outside looking in, or if you take just a purely analytical look at baseball, you don't understand the impact that it has in the clubhouse. Because these guys have done all their off-season work, grinded all of spring training, put the on the line the whole season, and then they look at the front office like, you guys have one job. You have one job. Like, get us.
That is how we look at the front office during the season.
And trust me, we can feel one job. Like, get us what we need. And like, I've been through years where like you just can't get it because you're asking to be paid like 5x the prices, and you just can't do it, and you feel like you just let everybody down. So take it very personally as an organization. Like, we need to deliver.
So Epstein, probably the most successful general manager in baseball this century, having won a World Series with the Red Sox and the Cubs, and really turn those organizations around. Him having that opinion, and then yesterday reading the comments from Jerry Dipoto to the Seattle Times' Adam Jude, where Jerry says, he finishes this quote by saying, the best players we can acquire are the players we have. We just need them to do the things that they have historically done. If I'm in that clubhouse, that Mariners clubhouse, and I'm hearing Dipoto say that, especially after the trade deadline they had last year, where they added Josh Naylor and they added Geno Suarez, guys. And you hear the stories that Shannon shared of Geno getting onto the team plane and guys like getting all emotional.
There's a
and
standing
stuff.
ovation,
right? And what Naylor added to that clubhouse at the end of the season and the big hits that he made. I don't know if you can just look at this roster and say, well, the pieces are all here. Because the pieces that are here right now have gotten you to, a 48-49 record?
Here's the thing. I'm not tight with Jerry. I don't know that he would say this, but I think he might. I think if Jerry were here and I was asking him about it, he'd probably say, well, that's how I feel. There's not, especially with the landscape of the American League right now, with so many teams still in it and so few teams that are true buyers, you're also not going to get a phenomenal player from a team that's a playoff team. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of options. Truly, we won't be able to find someone out there that's better than a good Cal Raleigh, that's better than a good Julio Rodriguez, that's better than Josh Naylor. Like, we can't find someone better than those guys to just replace those guys. I actually agree with them. I don't think you can. I think it's going to be a very underwhelming trade deadline. I truly believe that. I also think that Jerry has had really good trade deadlines that have shown an aggressiveness that I love seeing, but has also made some moves that show sometimes not always considering clubhouse mindset, player mindset. Yeah, I'm thinking of Kendall Graveman. It's exactly what I'm thinking of. It's just kind of like,
that's the most obvious one.
You have to have
Paul Sewald for
you have to have
Josh Rojas.
A feel for what a trade does. And you can't just treat it like you're putting together pieces of a puzzle and like, well, that piece doesn't fit, so I don't need that one, but this one does. And it's like, okay, but what if the piece that does fit is like a bad personality? Like, it's just, it's complicated. It's above my pay grade, but I love what Theo said. I'm not saying, hey, go out and try to throw everything you can at a team to get their best player and sell the farm. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's already pressure on these players to get better. But your words of, hey, this is it, this is our year, we need more, do carry more weight as a front office. Yeah. And those players who are hyper-competitive individuals do feel that pressure when you add. If you make some kind of splash that make it clear, I'm still in this, are you guys? Are you guys getting here early? Are you guys not making mistakes on the field? Right. Have we eliminated sloppy play? I did my job as a GM. I brought you the best bullpen arm I can find. I continued to do this and keep my foot on the gas. That does something. Yeah. So even though I don't know that the puzzle makes sense to someone like Jerry Dipoto, I hope that he sees the emotional investment he could make in his team.
And I think it's not just last year where we've seen what a big trade deadline move can do to clubhouse morale. I think back in 2022, getting Luis Castillo, who was by far and away the best pitcher available on the trade market. And, so often we have seen them prior to that year, we had seen the Mariners enter the deadline, and none of us, I think, were expecting the Mariners to pull the trigger on that move because it just kind of felt like too rich for their blood.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did pull it off, and everybody's kind of like, whoa, okay, like, we got something now.
I'll tell you this,
like,
that pressure laid off Jerry Dipoto.
Yeah.
I bet Dipoto had a slightly easier offseason.
Yeah, exactly. And
signing Naylor, I bet you had a pretty good winter.
And you look at all these moves, too, that they've made at the deadline, the big moves that they've made, Castillo, Randy in 2024, and then last year with Naylor and Gino, like, how many of them have blown up in the Mariners' face? None?
None.
And you look at the pieces that they've given up in those trades, none of them have
None
turned
of them
out
were
to
massive.
be
You didn't have a Chris Taylor 2.0 situation.
right.
Where
None
you're
of
like,
them
what
have
did
come
we
back
do?
to bite you. Now the Reds I think they recently called up Edwin Arroyo, if I'm not mistaken, and they've had Noelvi
Ford
Marte.
just is getting called up as well, but
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Like there's just not a lot that you can regret in any of those trades.
No.
So I feel like based off of that, and I think the Mariners have gotten a lot better at looking at who in their farm system they know will turn into a dude or who is safe to give up. Like I think just based off of that, like you got to be active at this deadline.
You're not going to have this pitching window forever.
No.
And I don't just mean that they're healthy and performing. I mean that they're here.
Right.
So take advantage of it. I'm all aboard Theo Epstein's opinion here. Down for it. Let's go around the diamond. The Mariners take on the Giants tonight at T-Mobile Park. Pregame starts at 6 p.m. First pitch at 7:10 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. That's Around the Diamond, brought to you by Klein Jewelers Edmonds. Ryan Divish joins us next.
Back on February 8th, the countdown started at 167 days.
3, 2, 1.
Right after the clock showed zeros.
The Seahawks win Super Bowl 60.
Now we're less than 2 weeks away. 8 days until Seahawks training camp begins.
We know that we're target number 1 now.
And nobody covers Seahawks training camp like the home of the Super Bowl champs, Seattle Sports.
The way you met, the moment you knew, the future you're dreaming about together. At Klein Jewelers, we believe your engagement ring should be just as unique as the journey that brought you here. That's why we specialize in custom designed engagement rings, crafted to reflect your style, your story, and the life you're building together. Our experienced team will guide you every step of the way, because when you're creating a symbol of forever, every detail matters. Klein Jewelers by the Fountain in downtown Edmonds. Your jeweler for life.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change presents Wisdom from the Road.
Summer means wide open spaces and a whole lot of extra miles. The last place you want your engine to give out is halfway to nowhere. Out here, low oil or a weak battery is just an ambush waiting to happen. That's why every oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change includes an 18-point maintenance check. These techs are trained to help spot issues early and keep your riding easy.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Change wisely.
Your neighbors at 3 Tree Roofing love telling you no. No high-pressure sales pitches. No Band-Aid fixes that will fail come wintertime. No outrageous pricing from some corporate-owned roofing company with headquarters thousands of miles from here. 3 Tree Roofing is local, family-owned, and their team will build you a worry-free plan for your roof replacement, completely free. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free estimate and call today to say yes to an additional $500 discount. That's 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Pests and poor installation have something in common. One call to Eastside Exterminators takes care of both. For more than 50 years, families across Western Washington have trusted Eastside Exterminators to eliminate pests for good and protect homes from crawl space to attic. With dedicated installation services and the state's only smart pest detection technology. From Everett to Federal Way, one call handles it all. 425-482-2271 or visit eastsideexterminators.com. Eastside Exterminators, family first pest control.
It's summertime and the living is easy. If you're like me, you're spending nights on the patio listening to the game and enjoying what makes our area so beautiful. Dave Wyman here, and I have just the offer for you to get the most out of your outdoor living space. $500 off each window, $750 off patio and entry doors, and $200 off the final project. I've loved working with Harley Exteriors. They're a local company right here in Bothell, down-to-earth people who enjoy the same things we all do, rooting on our local teams and doing the best job we possibly can day in and day out. Use Harley Exteriors to complete your home space and receive 12 or 18-month promotional financing.
Qualified buyers only. Subject to credit approval and lender terms. Minimum purchase of 4 qualifying windows required. Windows must be 36 by 36 inches or larger. No size minimum on patio or entry doors. Financing subject to approved credit. Offers cannot be combined with other promotions. Offer expires July 31st, 2026.
Go to HarleyExteriors.com.
America's favorite car show returns to Puyallup. Cruise on out for the Good Guys 38th Griot's Garage Pacific Northwest National. 3 huge days with over 3,000 classics from across the country. Check out the indoor car show and special areas. Vendor Midway Automotive Swap Meet, live music, Saturday night twilight cruising, and more. July 24th through the 26th at the Washington State Fair Event Center. Details at good-guys.com.
If it's blocking your view, keeping your yard dark or shaded, or impossible to mow around, get rid of that tree or stump this summer with P&D Tree Service. They'll do it safely and quickly, cleaning up your yard in the process. P&D Tree turns multi-day jobs into a few hours, saving you time and money. One tree or land clearing, they have the tools and expertise for the job. They specialize in large tree removal. Ever seen a tree removed by crane? PndTreeService.com.
You know what you can trust? The protection you get when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive. You know what you can't trust? Everything else, apparently. Like when you saw that article that said that thing you eat every day is a superfood and great for your gut health, but then 30 seconds later, a different article warns you to avoid it and it's taking years off your life. Well, which is it? Kind of a big difference there. Anyway, bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive for reliable coverage in a reliably unreliable world. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners return from the All-Star break tonight with a series at home against the Giants. Bryce Miller gets the start first pitch at 7:10 p.m. Pregame show starts at 6 p.m. Hosted by Shannon Dreyer on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Seattle Times Mariners reporter Ryan Divish joining us now. Ryan, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It looks beautiful behind you. Are you in Montana or are you back here in Seattle?
No, I'm in Montana. I got my stepson's last home baseball games, so they have like a senior night deal there. So made sure I was back for that.
Well, the scenery
his mom's gonna be crying. Oh yeah, no, it's great here. It's really warm and really not a lot of people. So,
so you two things you love, yeah. In your latest for the Seattle Times, you and your colleague Adam Jude made some bold second half predictions. Ryan, one of yours was that the Mariners will still win the AL West and they'll do it by 5 games. They're 1.5 back now. Been a really tough first half. What did you lean on to help make that prediction?
It was mostly just how terrible the American League West is, and just seeing some of the other teams. I mean, for as bad as the Mariners have played, like their record is based on injuries and lack of execution. Whereas, like, you look at the Rangers to be where they're at, I think they played above what their talent level is. And the Astros, who were so awful early on, have played better, but I think they're just as flawed as the Rangers. It's like Stacey, I know you like all the reality shows.
It's like do.
which one of the housewives from Orange County is the least crazy?
Yeah,
and it's like I think the Mariners are the least flawed of the teams in the American League West. That's why I think they'll win, and I think maybe it's just the laws of average say they can't play this terribly and so inconsistent like they have for the first half of the season, that I think at some point they are going to play up to their level, and that will be good enough for them to really pull away. And then they're bold predictions. I mean, I'm wrong on normal predictions, so bold ones, maybe I figure if we just throw out the crazy ones, maybe that'll help and we'll be closer to being right.
I think it's Heather.
Oh, okay. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, Curtis, your question.
Right.
I was going to say, Stacey, I did see that Vicky lady one time in SeaTac Airport.
Did you?
Bossing around like
she's
these
iconic.
poor valets. Yeah, she was
Crazy.
like bossing people around and yelling at her kids.
Oh, God.
It was truly like, that was one where reality show and life were basically the same.
Yeah, checked out.
Well, I don't have a Real Housewife anecdote to add.
That's your loss.
Yeah, I know. My wife only watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, so
yeah,
we didn't branch out from that. But Ryan, you mentioned just kind of the lapses that we've seen from this Mariner team. Guys getting thrown out on the base paths or fielding errors that are just kind of inexplicable. When you look at just kind of like where the blame lies in all of that, I think a lot of people will point to the coaching staff or point to the players. Like, how do you diagnose stuff like that when you see it unfold?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys use the blame pie or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, on mental mistakes, it's your mentality. So it's probably 60-40, 60% on the player, maybe 70%, because some of these mistakes are elementary, basic baseball mistakes that you don't make. It's Weston Wilson running to third base on a ground ball in front of him, making it out at a key situation. That is basic baseball that's been taught all the way back since he was playing high school. He knows better. He lost focus. He made a mistake. So I think, it's Randy Arozarena not remembering how many outs there are. It's so funny. It's like a guy will make a stupid play on the bases and everybody wants to blame the third base coach, and they're not telling him to go. And a lot of times, even if they're telling them to stay, they can't hear it or they have already gone. But at the same time, the blame pie when it comes to these kinds of mistakes, mental mistakes, effort mistakes, controllable mistakes, like errors are going to happen in a game. A physical error is going to happen, but it's the lack of communication or, like you said, a mental mistake. There hasn't been repercussions, I think, enough to drive the focus level up. It's like in Bull Durham when they aren't playing, when they're lollygagging the ball around the infield, and Crash Davis says their kids scare them, and the manager goes off. That there's no repercussions for the players right now if they do mess up. They're not taking them out. We've seen multiple times where Randy Arozarena has made questionable plays in game, and Dan Wilson chooses not to do it that way. And they don't bench him the next day or anything like that, and he never will call them out in the media, which that's his choice. They handle it in-house. Manny Acta should be getting overtime pay for having to kind of be that guy that handles the discipline and talking to these players about some of the mistakes, about how they can't happen again. They choose to handle it internally. That's how they want to do it. But at the same time, if the mistakes continue to happen, then how they're doing it internally isn't getting through to the players. And maybe it is the players handling the players. That's one thing Dan Wilson has given a lot of the leadership stuff back to the players, when it felt like, I think, the large portion of that group was getting tired of Scott Service being heavy-handed and everything. The players are kind of policing themselves. Well, they're not doing a very good job of policing themselves right now because these mistakes continue to happen.
I was going to ask about that. It feels like Dan has given, let's take Cal, right? It feels like Dan has given a lot of power to Cal among other leaders. But how do you set a tone when you're having your worst year? You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to go out there and tell people. And in addition to that, I've always felt, maybe you can, I don't know if you can, actually you can speak to this, that leadership from maybe one or two guys in a room is difficult when it's well, Cal's going to have a great relationship with the pitchers, but you need lots of different leaders for different guys, and guys respond to different things, and guys have different personalities. Is there a way to, I don't want to say take some of that leadership back, but how do you take some of that pressure off of someone like Cal?
Yeah, and I don't think it's always just Cal, but I do think he carries one of the largest voices. But you're right in the sense that, if you're Randy and he's getting on, and Cal's getting on him about, a base running mistake, and Randy could just look at him and say, hey, why don't you do something so we don't have to but I'm not the only one carrying the load offensively. Now, I don't think that Randy's saying that, but Julio has talked to Randy about some stuff, the inconsistency of, I guess you could call it effort, but like we've seen the communication issues at times with Randy and Julio, where like they'll both go for a ball and Randy will kind of look angry. But really, that stems from Julio not knowing whether Randy's going to be there or not, whether he gets the proper read, whether he's running hard. So essentially, Julio's just basically going to the left center gap to get everything because, like, he can get there and they're not certain whether Randy's going to be there at any given point. And that sort of inconsistency is what, I think frustrates Julio. And they've had conversations about it. I think, and Julio does carry a lot of weight within the organization. I think, honestly, though, it's like, it doesn't really matter what you say to Randy. He's going to be the same guy. He's been the same guy his whole career. That's why he was moved out of St. Louis. It's why after some pretty successful years in Tampa, he was making some money too, but they decided, like, let's move on. You are willing to put up with some of the inconsistencies that you see from Randy in the field and on the bases because he produces at the plate more often or not. That's just kind of the give and take of it all. It's like, when you like Robbie Cano, when they brought Robbie Cano in and people hated that he didn't run out balls to first base, but you know what? You took 30 homers and 30 doubles from him. That's what you have to expect. I mean, I think there is some leadership qualities to force that you can say, you can have some guys step in and say, hey man, come on, you got to pick this up. This isn't how we do things, and it's not just Randy, there's other guys too. But I think the bigger problem in all of this is these mistakes are magnified so much because this team does not hit and does not produce offensively. Like if they were hitting to commensurate power levels or power expectations, if they were actually hitting home runs at a rate that they were supposed to, we aren't having some of these conversations. But when you make mistakes in the field and they are so magnified because you're playing a ton of close games and you're struggling to score runs and you're not producing with runners in scoring position, everything becomes more magnified. And I think that's the biggest issue is like they don't score runs consistently enough to offset some of the issues that you had and issues that you probably expected. Like we knew they aren't going to be great defensively in some areas. We knew they're going to struggle with certain aspects of their lineup. But, if you hit a bunch of homers and you have guys producing, you don't have that problem.
One of the guys who hasn't produced to expectations is Josh Naylor. And I think he kind of gets forgotten with Cal's season having been as poor of a start as it's been. Julio also has had his production come and go over the season's first few months. But Naylor just kind of hasn't really been there the way he was a year ago. Is he kind of undergoing the same issues that maybe Cal is dealing with the World Baseball Classic throwing off his timing? Like, what is it that you're seeing from Naylor that has not produced the slug that we saw a year ago from him?
Yeah, it's weird. I was like looking at all these different things with Naylor. Like traditionally he's pretty even in terms of first half, second half numbers. He's not necessarily a slow starter. And if you look, like, he got 8 homers this year, so he's below pace to hit. I think he's only averaged around 20 for his career. I think what we saw maybe from Naylor the last few months of the season was more of a heater than traditionally who Josh is or isn't. I think one thing that if you look kind of at his numbers for his career, he loves to swing at the first pitch. He loves to swing at the first pitch a ton. And this year, like, the slug, the batting average, everything is way down on the first pitch and on his offerings, on his swings at first pitches. And, that's a big part of it. Like a lot of times the first pitch might be the best one you're going to get. And traditionally you have a higher batting average, a higher slug rate on first pitch strikes. I think he's not swinging a ton of strikes on the first pitch. Teams have figured out that he likes to cheat it, likes to, ambush pitches on the first pitch. And he will often they're throwing him stuff that's borderline out of the zone, and he's so committed to going on that first pitch that you see some awkward swings. I think, refining that approach maybe on the first pitch will help him. He's not striking out a ton, but like the hard hit rate on first pitch isn't great either. So I think that's something that, they probably need to look at, point out, but that's also been how he's hit for most of his career and what's made him successful. So you're trying to tell him, hey, don't do that, but this is how I've been good. Mm-hmm. But maybe it's just modifying the approach you have. Like, okay, you can go up first pitch. You got to find one spot only to go on and just be disciplined enough not to chase it if it's not within that one little little area that you're looking for.
Like Curtis said, Naylor, one of three names we talked about a ton. So the other two part of this question. Earlier in the show, we asked people who's the most important Mariner in the second half. Most popular answer might have been Cal. Both Curtis and I said Julio. And I think that's in part because my expectations for Cal have just changed. It doesn't look like some of his problems are something he can fix in a 4-day span over the All-Star break. So what's a fair expectation for him, or like a good 2026 Cal, which obviously isn't going to be a great version of Cal? And then what are expectations for Julio in the second half?
Yeah, with Cal, I think you're always going to get the consistency behind the plate and the leadership. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we've seen the starting pitchers look better when Cal has been back and catching the bulk of the games. That's not to dig on Mitch Garver or Johnny Pareda, but Cal just has a level of understanding with the pitchers and game planning that's high. I mean, like, to me, like, just kind of get back to slugging the baseball. Like, if he can carry, the 500 slug for the second half, doubles and homers, hit some homers, hit some doubles. You're not asking him to hit 260. You're not asking him, just be more of a threat offensively, and not be kind of the out that's been easy to kind of come by, which is throw a ton of fastballs above the zone, throw it in on his hands, have him pull some foul balls foul, and then go soft and low and below the zone and see if he'll chase it. You'll take the risk. So, just provide some power because he's hitting in the middle of the order. Julio, I think, has, because of his traditional path of really getting hot in late July and August, and we could see kind of him carry this group even more on a level that we haven't, that he hasn't done. I mean, that month of May was really, really outstanding. And I think what happened was in the month of May, it was outstanding, and other guys around him weren't doing a ton. Now, if you look at it in June, that was when Randy missed some time, Don missed some time. Pretty soon, Julio's pretty exposed, and they just had no reason to throw him strikes or throw him pitches in the zone. But he was still trying to force, I think, some contact and some hard contact that got away from what had made him really good in that month of May. So I think, like, it's all together, and really, like, as good as Cole has been, as good as Dom has been, and as good as Randy has been, like, having Julio and Cal makes such a difference. I don't even think it's Naylor. Naylor isn't the power threat that Cal and Julio are, but Cal and Julio can change games and they can change series just by their presence alone. And they haven't had that presence for much of the season.
Ryan, we heard yesterday from the Mariners that they're going to be throwing all 6 starting pitchers on this homestand. Luis Castillo has obviously been the kind of elephant in the room with the rotation this year. Do you see this latest turn in the rotation being more of an audition for him to stay with the Mariners beyond the trade deadline, or do you think this might be a bit of a showcase in order for the Mariners to kind of get some offers on him?
I mean, they're just not going to take him out of the rotation until after the trade deadline. They're not going to make any adjustments to the rotation until after the trade deadline. I don't see it. I mean, like, the moment you start relieving him and he isn't remain stretched out, then what value does he have to another team? Like, you're not trading for him, you're not trading for a $24 million reliever. So they have to continue to start him. I think there is a genuine concern too. Like, hey, what if one of these guys goes down? I mean, like, Emerson Hancock was one bad decision away from going on the injured list. He sticks his hand out on a comebacker at 90 miles an hour, and he's lucky to come away with a contusion. But all of a sudden, if Emerson Hancock breaks his hand reaching for a ground ball, then the math changes on everything. And I think that's what they're very concerned about. They don't want to make that decision until they absolutely have to. Yes, is it easier with Cade Anderson in AA? Absolutely. Cade Anderson has never thrown a big league pitch. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Luis Castillo has got how many years of big league pitching, and he actually has been pretty effective of late. So they're going to keep him starting with the possibility of moving him, or, and then once the trade deadline rolls around, once you're past that, maybe they make a decision on somebody going to the bullpen or somebody, because a lot can change in the next few weeks. And what happens, like, the Yankees thought their rotation was set. Then all of a sudden, Carlos Rodon goes down with elbow inflammation. Like, it can happen that quickly. one bad comebacker. So I think that's the one thing. And people get so mad about, I wrote that deal and Hollander's saying they have multiple scenarios. But, the best way for to piss off the baseball gods is to make a plan and say it's concrete and that's what you're going to do.
And it's going to work.
Because then it changes. It's like, look at Brendan Donovan. Like they had this plan. Now we're going to do this. And it's okay to trade Ben Williamson because you got Brendan Donovan here and you've got Colt Emerson coming up. And then Brendan Donovan has all these complications from a surgery, which probably should have been expected more than it is. But, I think being flexible and having that flexibility isn't a terrible thing. And really, it's so funny is like the fans seem to take the piggyback and the shifting of scenarios more personally than the pitchers. Like when you talk with Logan Gilbert and Emerson Hancock, they don't hate the extra days of rest. Wu doesn't love it as much and George has his routine, but you know what? They all want to pitch at the big league level and they all want to win. So they're just trying to make it work the best they can. I don't think it's as big of a deal. And if you look at Logan's numbers on extra days rest, I don't think it's a coincidence that he's bumped up and has been so strong these last going into the break because he's gotten extra rest in a lot of the days going into his starts.
He is Ryan Divish. We led off the interview by telling you that Divish and Jude combined to make some bold predictions for the second half. We already told you his first, that the Mariners would win the AL West by 5 games. You can check out the second prediction of his and Adam Jude's at seattletimes.com. He is Ryan Divish. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. We don't have quite enough time to really dive into headline rewrites. I would love to just take a couple minutes to talk about everything we learned from Ryan.
Yeah.
Normally we jump right into something else and maybe we look back on some of what we learned the next day, but we don't have a next day. It's tomorrow's Saturday,
today, yeah.
And I would love to react to a little bit. Curtis, I think what I was really struck by was a lot of what Ryan had to say about you see things happen and then you don't see discipline. Manny Acta deserves a raise for the tough parenting that he's had to do with this group. I don't know that we're going to see a discipline always feels patronizing, but discipline or repercussions in the second half. But I think we desperately need to. I'm sorry, Dan, if that's not your approach, but someone has to be the bad guy.
Yeah, there's got to be an adult in the room. And I think you've got to be able to spot those moments and put a stop to them, because if you don't then the next one, you're just allowing a next one to happen.
Well, and you kind of take away from what Manny's trying to do. Manny can't bench a player.
Right. He's not the guy totally in charge. It's Dan Wilson who's in charge. And I get that Dan Wilson's leadership style is maybe not so much the disciplinarian, maybe in the way that Scott Service was. But at some point, you got to send a message to this clubhouse too. Hey, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get to a World Series. And what we're not going to have happen are all these mental lapses that have cost us in games. And I get that, Dan himself has probably made a few mental lapses here or there in
probably has a lot of empathy
in decisions that he has made. And so, yeah, it's hard to, when you're the one in charge of making all these decisions and seeing some of them backfire, maybe you're worried that your ability to lead the clubhouse is kind of maybe put in question from some guys who are in the clubhouse. Not to say that that's happening. I'm just kind of putting together some pieces here, but I think that at some point guys are going to have to get a message sent to them that what we're trying to do here is win a World Series, and what we're not going to have happen night in and night out are all these mental lapses that have cost us in games, because one error is not going to kill you. It's the situations in which the errors happen. It's the base running decisions and when they happen. It's the dropped balls in the outfield. It's guys not hustling. It's Randy, not catching that fly ball that landed in foul territory, and then the very next batter was, or the very next pitch was a home run. Those are the things that you've got to be able to get out of your system, especially with how important these games are that are coming up. You've got to be able to be on your P's and Q's against some pretty quality opponents.
Well, and there's two things you're doing. I think back to when Mike McDonald benched Freak Woolen for a minute. And in that series or two that he was benched, I don't know that the opposition scored a touchdown, but I remember there was some kind of big play. I don't even remember if it was Josh Jobe playing for him, but there was some kind of big play. And I remember thinking at the time, in the press box, I wonder if Mike McDonald regrets this or if it looks bad. But then I thought almost immediately after, well, it's also a lesson of you hurt your team.
Yeah.
I didn't bench you. You did. Your actions led to you being here. That play that was just given up, that's also because of your behavior. You're hurting your team, not me. And I think that you just can't make everyone happy, because if you're Dan, and let's say there's a player that's not giving it his all, that's making errors, that's doing whatever, and there's some things you can't control. Don't bench a guy because he strikes out or goes 0 for 4. Yeah. It's just going to happen. Don't bench a guy for an error that randomly happens when he's clearly trying. It's just going to happen. But when you see a lack of effort, bad body language, guys giving up on plays, if your focus is to be okay with everyone and then you tell that guy, hey, I still believe in you, you're still inadvertently sending a message to another player. So like it or not, trying to be cool with everyone is still sending messages. If you're going to send a message either way, then make it one about effort.
It gets back to that topic we had, I think, was it at the start of this week, where you were asking for some tough leadership from this Mariners team. And I think this is a clear example of spots where tough leadership can absolutely be applied to this roster and make guys kind of feel the mistakes a little bit more.
Taking a look around the NFL next.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break.
Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
What if I told you a local credit union is giving members up to $30 per month just to make everyday purchases? Dave Wyman here, and when I heard about the offer from Harborstone Credit Union, I said, sign me up. And that's what I did at harborstone.com/cash. You know, I'm not a tech-savvy guy, but opening a checking account was easy enough for me to figure out. I got my PNW Cashback checking account for free, no fees or minimums, and when I make everyday purchases with my Harborstone PNW Cashback debit card, I earn up to $30 each month. My wife loves it when I get cash back on gas, groceries, coffee, travel, and lunch. All categories count towards your cash back. You can even tap to pay. If you live, work, or worship in the state of Washington, sign up for a membership with Harborstone Credit Union and get the PNW Cashback free checking account. Open your free account online like I did at harborstone.com/cash or visit one of their 29 branches across the Northwest.
Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you have a special occasion or milestone to commemorate? Come discover Klein Jewelers in charming downtown Edmonds. As a locally owned family jeweler, we combine an impressively large selection with a warm personal service only a hometown jeweler can provide. Whether you're searching for the perfect engagement ring or a beautiful piece of diamond or gemstone jewelry, you'll find plenty to love and no pressure along the way. From life's biggest milestones to those just because moments. Klein Jewelers by the Fountain in downtown Edmonds. You're a jeweler for life.
Every summer, homeowners wait too long to find a house painter. All Covered Painting is accepting a limited number of exterior projects this season. Ask about a designer-led complimentary color consultation. Get your free estimate at allcoveredpainting.com.
Wayscar Ford is celebrating their 104th birthday in Auburn. How's that possible? It's all about the people, employees and customers just like you and me. The Wayscarf Way, 104 years of service, trust, and community. Wayscarford.com. That's wayscarford.com.
50 legends, one unforgettable night. Join the Mariners at T-Mobile Park on Saturday, August 8th for 50 season celebration night presented by Daktronics.
A perfect game by a Seattle Mariner. It was done by the King.
Arrive early to witness an epic pregame ceremony featuring the biggest gathering of franchise icons ever assembled.
Junior with a 2-run home run. Everybody is going bonkers.
Seats are going fast. Get yours at mariners.com/tickets.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown. Never let kids' toys take over the house. And never fill your feed with kid photos. You'd never plan your life around their schedule. Never lick your thumb to clean their face. And you'd never let them leave the house looking like less than their best. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it. Never let them stay up too late. and never let them run wild through the grocery store.
Peanuts on aisle 6 and aisle 3.
So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just 8 days
until training camp for the Super Bowl champs. And nobody has it covered like the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here with my buddy Shannon O'Kelly from IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. We know this, Shannon. When the weather warms, our baseball team's bats usually get a little hotter. We also know that maybe we've been sitting around and we try to crank things to 100 and our bodies don't quite react. As the weather gets warmer, do you see more folks at IRG?
Absolutely, Brock. You know, you just mentioned it. As the weather warms up, people think they need to get outside, which is great. But sometimes they get outside, they start too fast, too quick, and they don't warm up. They don't stretch. They don't do preparation. If you find yourself in that situation where maybe you overdid it, you're hurt, you got a bruise, a bump, an ache, get a hold of us at IRG PT. We'll do a free injury screening, and we'll give you some guidance, some recommendations to keep you on your path of healthy function, pain-free activity.
How cool is that? A free screening for you and no referral needed. Just personalized care when and where you need it. Visit IRGPT.com and schedule your appointment today. Over 40 convenient locations. IRG's in your neighborhood. IRGPT.com.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The sounds of summer. They're great until they're not. Luckily, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging.
Let me check that for you.
To help make a rough moment smooth. Don't miss the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone. Free products with select deals until July 27th. And free services every day. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we're going to start in the AFC South with some cool news here. The Titans have announced they will be inducting Chris Johnson into the team's Ring of Honor during their home opener on Saturday, September 13th. Johnson, obviously recently diagnosed with ALS, made that diagnosis public in an interview with, was it Good Morning America or the Today Show?
With Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan, thank you.
Yeah, this is great news that they're moving quickly with this. Unfortunately, they kind of do have to move quickly with this because in that interview with Good Morning America, we saw that Johnson's ALS has progressed to where he needs he can't speak. He has to use technology to help him speak. But his career with the Titans, I mean, man, that 2,000-yard season, I was in the building.
2006.
Right. I was in the building at Lumen the day he surpassed 2,000 yards.
Crazy.
And I believe the story, well, not believe, I was there, but he had a long run called back that day on a holding penalty. And I think if that run had held up, I think Jeff Fisher, the Titans head coach at the time, said something like, yeah, we would have just kept handing the ball so he could pass Eric Dickerson's single-season record. But, yeah, great that the Titans are kind of expediting this. And he's a very worthy player to be in the team's Ring of Honor just based off of his playing career.
I was going to say, a first overall pick for the team in 2008, spent 6 seasons there and had 1,000 or more yards every single year. So he's fourth in franchise history. With the fourth most touchdowns, but obviously one of the best running backs.
Yeah.
And certainly one of the brightest spots during that stretch of play for them.
Titans running back history, Titans-Oilers running back history. Very underrated.
Yeah,
Earl Campbell, Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry.
I mean,
that's four
is
pretty
it even
elite running
underrated,
backs.
or is it just that the Titans haven't been elite or a dynasty, so we kind of overlook it, but we all know there have been great running backs.
Yeah, I mean, God, they're really good in that category. It's kind of like the Colts had Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, and Edgerrin James. The Rams had Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, Steven Jackson, Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
There's some sneaky good running back teams out there, but the Titans among the best.
Anyways.
Hopefully Mike Lefko heard us compliment his Titans.
I hope he did too. I'm sure also if anyone's tuning into that broadcast, I would imagine they broadcast that part of that presentation on September 13th. Next up, in a segment on NFL Network's The Insiders yesterday, Ian Rappaport said the Seahawks can get back to a Super Bowl by continuing to do what they've done, which according to Ian is develop talent they acquire in the draft.
You look at how Seattle's roster has become one of the best rosters in the NFL. They have always done it through the draft. So what they have done this year especially is let Ken Walker leave. You let a lot of their defensive stars, you mentioned Boye Mafe, a lot of their defensive stars leave because you have enough talent in the draft to basically make up for them. So Ken Walker leaves. You have Jadarian Price coming in. Not going to be the only one filling the void there, but certainly going to help. You have Bud Clark at safety. They lost a bunch of members of their secondary. He's going to come in and help their second rounder. This is always, Sarah, how Seattle has done it. They have to draft well, and thankfully for them, because John Schneider is one of the best in the NFL, they always draft well. Those guys just going to have to play sooner rather than later.
Best in the NFL last year, I'd say. Curtis, has that been the secret sauce for Seattle, and is that how they get back and repeat as champions?
As of lately, yes, they've been able to build the core of this team through the draft, but let's not sleep on the player acquisitions that they've made from outside of the organization over the last 4 or 5 seasons. Because you and I, we were running through the list of names that they've gone out in free agency or via trade in the last, the Mike McDonald era, and then also the end of the Pete Carroll era, like Leonard Williams acquired via trade, Julian Love, free agency, DeMarcus Lawrence, free agency. It's been a lot of guys that they've gotten and that have really, performed well that are, it's obviously a risk in free agency to make moves like Cooper Kupp.
Sure.
Because you're paying above market value for a lot of these guys, but they've gotten a great return on their investment in all those facets as well.
I think that's a great way to explain it, that it's winning not just by drafting, but by every move he's making. He's a Ronald Acuna Jr. This is a 40-40 few years for John Schneider, when the secret sauce hasn't just been lucking out in the draft and making good picks and developing them. The secret sauce has always been making the right decisions all the time. In fact, last year, was it before last year, we were talking about Will Fries and how important it was that the team get him, and kind of was this a mistake to miss out? No one's talking about Will Fries being a first-team All-Pro and, oh, my God, the Seahawks missed out. It ended up being perfectly fine for Seattle and working out. So there have also been decisions they didn't make that ended up being the right choices for this team as well.
And they would have had to pay Fries a lot of money.
Yes, and while I think there's a conversation to be had about whether or not free agency and attacking free agency is the wisest way to build a team, which is ironic because the Patriots did that and got to the Super Bowl last year, sustained success comes from nailing those midseason trades, nailing the draft, and John Schneider has done both. So you're right, Curtis, to highlight both. I think that's an important part of it. What international market does Roger Goodell want to reach next? He told Sportico he wants to see a regular season game in Tokyo.
What's one international market you want to have an NFL game in that you haven't had yet?
Not one. I got about 10.
You got a ton.
Yeah. We had a game in Tokyo, but it was a preseason game, so we want to do a regular season game, yeah.
I mean, sure. That'd be a fun trip that Bump would go on and not me.
I worry about when that game might kick off because Matt Nelson and I are intimately familiar with American sporting events played in the city of Tokyo, because Matt and I both were on the board for the Mariners opening series. I think it was like 2018 or something in Tokyo. That was absurd, those start times.
So when it's 1 p.m. in Seattle, it's 5 a.m. the next day in Tokyo.
Yeah, you're not having a...
So you'd have to go...
You're not having a friendly local time start here.
7 p.m. in Seattle would be 11 a.m. in Tokyo. So you could have a noon kickoff in Tokyo that would be 8 p.m. here.
That's the thing that really frustrated me about how the Mariners did their Tokyo games.
Yeah.
The game in Tokyo, I want to say, was like a midday game, which made it was it a 2 a.m. kickoff here?
I think it was like a midnight pregame show, so 1 a.m.
They're 16 hours ahead.
1 a.m. first pitch, something ridiculous.
Whatever it was, they had made it so it was like a midday game in Tokyo and a or a midday game in Tokyo and a midnight game here, which was just
absurd.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
You could have split the difference and made it watchable in both countries.
Yeah.
Is there another place?
NFL learned from the Mariners' mistake.
Where would you guys want to see an international game next? If you got to go to it.
If I got to go to it?
If you got to go. You're taking a long time to answer.
There aren't many places
New Zealand
in the world. I mean, they're going to Australia already.
Paris.
I think they've already had a
Rio
game in
de Janeiro.
Paris. I think they've had a game in Rio.
They've had a game in Brazil.
Yeah.
What about Egypt? That's too hot.
That'd be hot. Yeah, that'd be way too hot.
Greenland.
South Africa. Greenland might be too cold.
Oh, you're right. Iceland is the good one. Other famous people have made that mistake, Matt. I'm so
Game in the
sorry.
Antarctic.
Oh,
Antarctica.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, Sweden.
Sure, but that might be too cold as well that time of year. If you're playing a game in the southern hemisphere, it's going to be warm during football season.
Yeah. Cuba.
North Korea.
The day the NFL kicked off in Russia. Next up, and last, who's
Zach
in
in the 253 says Ireland. That'd be a good one. Scotland.
Ireland would be really fun, but I thought they already did that.
Scotland wants the Patriots there because they had such a fun time in Boston.
So I love the relationship that evolved with Scots being in Boston because I think that the Scots are to the UK. Is that the UK technically? I know they have an issue with me, right? I'm going to sound so stupid. I'm going to sound so dumb, and I know that. But I know that it's very particular when you call it the UK and not.
Yeah.
Because when it's the England team, you can't say
the UK.
Brits. You have to say England.
Yeah,
I don't know.
English.
Something specific. You know what? I don't even have time for another story, but that's probably for the best that I stop.
We got a few Madagascar, Zimbabwe. It might be too hot in those places.
Madrid.
I think they're going. I think they're going there this year.
I could have sworn they went to Ireland. I'm having a phantom memory of them being Athens, Greece. Athens would be kind of cool. Ooh, like in a Coliseum.
They haven't done Italy yet.
Italy. What?
Yeah,
it was
they
right in
haven't
front of us
gone to
the whole
Italy yet.
time. Italy. Done. And no one's there in August. What's a reasonable second half for Cal Raleigh and Julio look like? That's next.
Seattle Sports, home of Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10.
What are the priorities in the second half? Number one for me, you got to clean it up. Start playing cleaner baseball.
Include Naylor in that. I'm going to have a lot more emphasis on him because he was a major straw that stirred the drink in their run in August and September last year.
That's fine. You can focus on Naylor all you want. I'll still be focused on, Cal, the guy who hit 60 home runs and had the greatest season ever for a catcher last year.
Watch live or later on the Seattle Sports YouTube channel.
Les Schwab Tires has always believed that taking care of people is the right thing to do. Today, that means more than trusted service. It means delivering real value, too. That's why we're lowering prices on hundreds of tires without changing the service and expertise you've always counted on. Consumer Reports named Les Schwab the best tire retailer for 2026. We'll keep working every day to earn your trust. See leschwab.com for details.
Protecting workers' rights is the goal! Thousands of workers will help power the excitement of Seattle's Summer of Soccer from June 11th through July 19th. If you're working in hotels, stadiums, restaurants, security, temp jobs, or app-based delivery, you have rights. From wage theft to minimum pay, the Seattle Office of Labor Standards wants you to know that you are protected. Call 206-256-5297 or visit seattle.gov/labor standards.
Imagine Wi-Fi so intelligent it can actually fix itself. That means when there's a problem, it doesn't slow you down. It keeps your streaming smooth, your gaming lag-free, and your work from home right on track. Well, this is Wi-Fi built for the way you live. Powered by a fiber network with 99.999% reliability, delivering incredible speed and strong, consistent coverage in every corner of your home, even those hard-to-reach spots. And it's just not fast, it's secure. Think of it as a security blanket for your entire network, keeping everything connected and working together seamlessly. And here's the best part. You can lock in 5 full years of predictable pricing. No contracts, no surprises, just one simple plan that includes everything. Data, equipment, and the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi installation. Comcast. Imagine that. Restrictions do apply. Select plans only, but make the call today to 1-800-XFINITY.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Eric Johnson here. I covered a lot of accidents over the past 30 years or so, but I never got to say much about what to do after a crash. Be honest, do you know what evidence to collect, what pictures to take, what documents to request, or what you shouldn't say to your insurance company? The Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the roads throw at them. Know your rights and how to avoid common mistakes after an accident by getting your free copy at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Mariners and Giants tonight at T-Mobile. First pitch at 7:10. Pre-game at 6. Get every pitch of every game for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Jane is a small business owner.
That's right.
And tell them what that's like, Jane.
Yeah, well, it's like a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, and some days things can feel like they're flying off the rails.
Yep, it's a lot. But the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business can help you manage it all. With the largest, fastest fiber-powered network designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect. Plus gig speeds with security and equipment included. All with a 5-year price lock.
Nice. So everything stays on track.
Exactly. The Total Solutions Advantage. Get started for just $60 a month for 12 months when you add wireless connect to a qualifying internet package. No one does business like Comcast Business.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and automatic payments with bank account required. $60 offer requires 300 meg internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Ready to relax, unwind, and feel your best? The Spa Warehouse Summer Savings Expo is on now. Enjoy big savings on in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Hot tubs start as low as $3,999 with savings up to $3,000 on select models. Score incredible deals on in-stock swim spas. Save up to $7,700. Plus, interest-free financing through 2028 on approved credit. The expo ends July 31st. Don't delay. Your best life starts at the Spa Warehouse.
Did you know that 4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state? I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide financial support for breast and gynecologic cancer patients in our community. Join us at Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel in Woodinville for an unforgettable afternoon of inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are an hour away from what I need to know. Get your questions in, 866-979-3776. Any question, text it now. We just had Ryan Divish on the show to open up this hour, spent almost 20 minutes talking with Ryan. And one of the questions we asked Curtis was, hey, Curtis and I were trying to decide who the most important Mariner in the second half is. What are fair expectations for Cal and Julio? Because those were the two most popular answers. I thought that, now I have his answer on Julio. I thought his answer about Cal was interesting. Here's what he said.
With Cal, just kind of get back to slugging the baseball. Like, if he can carry, the 500 slug for the second half, doubles and homers, hit some homers, hit some doubles. You're not asking him to hit 260. You're not asking him, just be more of a threat offensively. And not be kind of the out that's been easy to kind of come by, which is throw a ton of fastballs above the zone, throw it in on his hands, have him pull some foul balls foul, and then go soft and low and below the zone and see if he'll chase it. You'll take the risk. So, just provide some power because he's hitting in the middle of the order.
I thought this was interesting. Curtis, last week I asked you what you thought was wrong with Cal and whether or not the All-Star break could fix it. And you said you felt like his swing was just off and that, in your opinion, it would be an off-season fix. Tear it down to the studs, fix it back up. So I just move forward going, okay, well, maybe my expectation for Cal is be a good leader, be good with the catchers. But Ryan Divish, who covers this team closely, says, he's still going to need to slug. It's not going to be last year, but, you can't get away with a Cal Raleigh that doesn't give you a double once in a while. Do you think that's fair, given what you think is wrong with him?
Well, one thing we know about Cal this season is that the power itself hasn't gone away. Like, when he gets a hold of one, it goes a long way. Like that home run he hit on 4th of July, just a towering shot to right field. So the power is still there, very much so. It's the timing. It's the consistent contact that he made a year ago. He set a career high in batting average last year. Like, everything that Cal did last year was unbelievable. So we know the power still is there, and he can hit a home run at any given moment. The problem is that you're not seeing the doubles, you're not seeing the singles, you're not seeing,
certainly not the home runs.
Right. Definitely not that at a consistent pace. He does give the threat of a home run every time he's up, but definitely nowhere near as consistently as he did in 2025. But yeah, you can't be an easy out in this lineup because this lineup has a hard time stringing together runs, and especially when you're as reliant on Cal and as reliant on Julio and Naylor and all those guys in the lineup. Like, you're going to need them to hit home runs. You're going to need them to slug here in the season's second half, and it all kind of points back to Cal. Every conversation we have with this Mariners team,
always
in some way, shape, or form, comes back to Cal.
Can I just tell you, I feel like I'm piling on sometimes, and I almost feel bad, but it's hard to have a conversation about a team that lacks power that doesn't go back to your power hitter.
Exactly. He's the power hitter in this lineup, and it does. Sure, I think that's fair to feel like, we're piling on Cal, but also it does speak to the importance of him in this organization and him in this lineup where everything runs through him. The clubhouse runs through him. The pitching staff runs through him. The offense runs through him. And it has been just such a tough watch this year to watch him struggle with the injury, to watch him struggle with his timing. It's in there. Like, that the Cal that we've seen over the last half decade here in Seattle is still very much within him because we do see the flashes every now and then. There was that point in April where we're like, okay, maybe he's got it figured out because I think he hit like 4 or 5. Yeah.
I think he had 3 home runs across 3 games or maybe 4.
Something like that, yeah.
Do you, given, again, what you think is wrong with him, is it more encouraging to you that the power's still there? Is that what makes you think that because I don't think you can just purely fix timing. Like, there's not going to be a great version of Cal this year. There's just going to, maybe there could be, but like, you've kind of set expectations as, I think he's going to have a lot of work to do in the offseason. Still a spectacular player, really important part of this team, but you might just get a muted version of Cal. Can that version you're expecting actually slug, or are your hopes still pretty low?
I would say,
be honest,
my expectations are low of what Cal can be the rest of the year, but just to have the threat of somebody that can go deep in your lineup has to make opposing pitching at least respect you in a way where it's like, I can't just, throw whatever I want to this guy because he can still take a mistake, 450 feet. Heck, Rob Refsnyder has been the worst bat on this team. He has 3 home runs. Like, he's deposited a few over the fence, and some of them have been pretty impressive shots as well, like the one in St. Louis where he challenged the pitch prior to it. So, even the worst hitters in baseball can run into one, and I think Cal right now at least has the power going for him when he does get those instances. But yeah, I think when you look at most important Mariners, we pointed to Julio down the stretch, but you don't have to go very far before you get to Cal. In fact, I would say it goes Julio, then Cal, in terms of who are the guys that can jumpstart this offense if they get their bat going. And you got to have at least one of them get out to a fast start. We haven't even heard, well, maybe closer to first pitch today, we'll get official word on Julio. Hopefully, that comes out pretty soon. I would imagine a roster move would be getting made around now, or at least a roster announcement, just because it's usually near the end of our show when we kind of get word on, what the roster moves are going to be like, and who knows what this team could be shaping up here when they take the field tonight. But, yeah, I think those two guys are the most important ones going forward, and everybody knows it. Everybody in that clubhouse knows it. Everybody who's going to be at T-Mobile Park tonight knows it. Now it's time for them to get going because you only have 65 games left. It's not early anymore. It is not early anymore, and it's gonna get late pretty quick.
There was something else Ryan said, and it was one of many things sticking with us from this week. We'll tell you about it next.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break.
Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
So you need to have a system where if a customer wants to transact online, shop their vehicle, find their vehicle, fill everything out, and do as much paperwork even online, and buy the car online, and then come in at an appointment time so they can be in and out in an efficient time, hey, my target goal is an hour. If you want to take half those steps, just know that, you're going to have another hour of transaction and paperwork, and then you're going to have roughly an hour of delivery. Some people even want more than that because it's a lot of technology. So it's making it available so a customer that wants to go 25, 50, or 100% meet them there where they want to be. If you want to take all these steps, I can meet you there.
The Johnson Auto Family. The LJ way.
Here in the Pacific Northwest, windows can be one of the best investments you can make to add value to your home. At Dunn Lumber, we have designated Milgard window specialists who have been trained by Milgard to best serve your needs. If you need help finding the right windows for your home, come by one of our 4 Dunn Lumber window showrooms. Or reach out to me personally, Mike Dunn at DunnLumber.com.
Dunn Lumber, building success together.
Dave Wyman here, and the folks at Bellevue Rare Coins say higher prices have enticed more Americans to cash out their jewelry, gold, and silver items. Here's a story from a real customer. She walked into Bellevue Rare Coins with an old bag of jewelry, a little bit nervous, a little bit embarrassed because it was mostly old tangled chains and pieces she hadn't looked at in years. When they gave her the total, she couldn't believe what it was worth. Go see what your jewelry is worth with a free consultation. Bellevue Rare Coins is now in Linwood, Issaquah, Tacoma, and Bellevue.
Pests and poor installation have something in common. One call to Eastside Exterminators takes care of both. For more than 50 years, families across Western Washington have trusted Eastside Exterminators to eliminate pests for good and protect homes from crawl space to attic. With dedicated installation services and the state's only smart pest detection technology. From Everett to Federal Way, one call handles it all. 425-482-2271 or visit EastsideExterminators.com. Eastside Exterminators, family first pest control.
The biggest scuba sale in America starts next Thursday at Underwater Sports in North Seattle. Incredible savings for 3 days only. Divers Fair only happens once each year at Underwater Sports, 107th and Aurora Avenue North.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Our summertime savings event means 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months, backed by our unbeatable warranties. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, to get 30, to get 20, 20, 20, to get 20, 20, to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners return from the All-Star break tonight with a series at home against the Giants. Bryce Miller gets the start. Julio Rodriguez eligible to return from the IL. We could see a roster move here soon, though the lineup isn't expected until closer to 3 p.m. First pitch at 7:10. Pregame show starts at 6 right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. What I need to know coming your way in 45 minutes, but get those questions in now. Any question you have, text it. 866-979-3776. Usually every single Friday, sometimes we just have a packed show, but usually we like to take advantage of the fact that, like, we've had so many phenomenal interviews, not just on our show, but on this station. And there are just certain things that stick with you where you go, this matters. This is really important. Hey, let's revisit that, actually, because that kind of, can help us predict what's to come here or whatever. So this is a collection of the moments that stood out most to us. And this is across the station. For instance, an interview with Seth Wickersham that wasn't with us, Jeff Passan, obviously with Brock and Salk, but Jordan Schusterman, our regular Thursday guest, and obviously we just had Ryan on, and Ryan is one of them that I'll get to in just a second. I want to start by looking back at our interview with Jordan. My question for Jordan during this interview, his answer here, was about whether or not it bothered him to hear people talking about how the Mariners should sell or how the season, because it had been fairly so disappointing, was kind of lost.
The math is still so heavily in their favor in terms of just getting in at all that I just can't, for a team that's never been to the World Series and still has according to Fangraphs, 71% chance to make the playoffs in one of the worst American leagues we've ever seen. I'm sorry. It would be so disrespectful. I think it's more disrespectful to your fans to even contemplate selling. And I don't think that they are. But this is what I just don't understand is, like, of all the teams and all the franchises and all the fan bases, this would be the last one that I would think would want to throw away any opportunity to just get in and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this. Jordan is a very chill dude. Really, really nice, really chill guy. He actually got pretty fired up there, Curtis.
Yeah, he doesn't use the deep voice like that so often because, like you said, he's very measured. He's very
pragmatic.
Exactly. But to hear him get very passionate about that, I think he's 100% right. I would hate for the Mariners to punt on a season like this where no one in the American League has really put themselves out in front of everybody and said, we're the best team. Like, no one's planted their flag yet. The Rays do have the best record, but you look at the Rays and it's like, does that look like a World Series team as currently constructed? Maybe not. The Yankees, when they're at their best, are probably the most talented team in the AL, but they don't have Aaron Judge, and there's no guarantee they're going to get Aaron Judge.
They've also had some sluggish stretches of offense. So do you remember that part in the interview with Jordan? I should have actually added this one too, but do you remember when Jordan also said, look, you can say that this wasn't the team you expected and that's going to make it tough, or that you shouldn't feel good about trying to get into first place with like a pathetic record or whatever. Or you could see it as an opportunity, because in a way, the landscape is more opportunistic for you than it was last year. Last year, you were looking at the Tigers being the number one team in the American League. You were looking at the Yankees continuing to dominate. There were so many more teams that you were trying to fight off that you had to worry about tiebreakers with and that you had to earn those back from. Yeah, you statistically were a much better team last year, but the league is so much worse in a one-year turn, which is absolutely insane. But, like, there's a way to look at that differently than just first place in this league doesn't matter to me. First place in this division doesn't matter. What are you talking about? Someone from this division has to go to the playoffs, and someone from the American League has to go to the World Series.
I mean, who would have thought at this point in the year, if you had told somebody on opening day that, you know, who's going to be the number 2 seed in the American League right now? The Chicago White Sox.
And I could have told you that. I was warning everyone.
If you had told me that, I would have thought, I don't know, Stacy. I would not have been very convinced.
It would have been with my sister's approach, which is everyone's allowed.
Every team should be allowed a trip to the World Series.
Everyone's allowed to go to a World Series.
Yeah, but here we are, and the White Sox are at 50-45. They're tied with the Guardians in their own division, but I believe they would hold a tiebreak over the Guardians in terms of who would get the American League Central. But like, that just goes to show just how crazy this landscape is. And by the way, if you get hot in the American League West, the Mariners just 3 games back of the White Sox right now for that number 2 seed, even though the Mariners are at 48-49. Like, you're crazy. Not that far off from being one of the best teams in the American League, despite how frustrating this year has gone.
I will just say it over and over and over and over again. We, and by we, I literally mean we, Curtis and I are born and raised here, spent 21 total, or was it in the 21st season? 21 years of our life not watching this team in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, the gap between when they were in the playoffs was like when we were children versus adults.
Yeah, well into adulthood.
Well into adulthood.
Children.
That's what I'm saying.
In between.
I had a dog. I didn't at the time. Luca wasn't even born. But you'll never find me, miss me with this. You will never find me complaining about, like, a chase to the playoffs being not worth it. Right. Or a chase to the playoffs being lost because you aren't the best team, or like, what does it matter? What do you mean, what does it matter?
Yeah.
I'm not tired of getting to the playoffs. I've only experienced it as an adult twice.
Right.
What do you mean?
And both times have been some of the most fun experiences watching this team. And last year was chock full of moments that this fan base will never, ever forget. You know, Jorge Polanco with his walk-off in Game 5.
Yeah.
You had Gino's grand slam
in
a
fan base
in Game
that can,
5 of the ALCS. Yeah.
It's not a fan base that can, or should, in my opinion, be like, it's not worth it. But it is also not an ownership group, not decision makers, not a front office that can ever say that either. That goes both ways.
Yeah.
If you're going to expect fans to not give up and to always be down for it, then the same applies to you. Yeah. You can never, ever, ever be out of it as a front office. You owe it to fans. And to Jordan's point, it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
He's right. I mentioned that other cut from Ryan that's sticking with me that I didn't play in our last segment. This one is about Julio.
Julio, I think, has, because of his traditional path of really getting hot in late July and August, and we could see kind of him carry this group even more on a level that we haven't, that he hasn't done. It's all together, and really like as good as Cole has been, as good as Dom has been, and as good as Randy has been, like having Julio and Cal makes such a difference. I don't even think it's Naylor. Naylor isn't the power threat that Cal and Julio are, but Cal and Julio can change games and they can change series just by their presence alone. And they haven't had that presence for much of the season.
An interesting answer from Ryan about how we could see Julio carry this group in a way that he hasn't really had to before for a sustained period. But Curtis, you said Julio was your most important Mariner in the second half.
Yeah, and I think because of the levels that he can reach, we know what a locked-in, amazing Julio looks like, and it is an MVP candidate. It's a guy that plays the very best baseball of anybody on this team when they're at their very best, and that even includes Cal, I think. Like, Julio Rodriguez, at the peak of his power, is just jaw-dropping to watch. I think about that August, was it 23, when he had about 17 or 18 hits over the course of like a 4 or 5 game span, something absurd like that.
It was basically every AB was a hit.
Yeah, and he had like 4 hit games in a row, like 4 games in a row. It was so stupid watching him produce in that way. And then even his rookie season after the All-Star break, after the Home Run Derby, just coming into his own and looking so comfortable at the plate. Last year, performed really well after the All-Star break again, especially an All-Star break where he was like, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out. I just don't feel like this one's for me. I need to get my head right going into the season's second half. And sure enough, like he was everything you could hope he would be. And I hope that we see that Julio here, because you've never needed that Julio as badly as you do now. It's always been kind of like, well, if we can get that Julio, that'd be great to kind of add on to what they're doing. But no, it's like, we need that.
You need it. Well, and it's a big rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing where, and Ryan talked about it, everyone around Julio doesn't need to play like an MVP, but people around Julio improving their play does make things easier for Julio in those battles against pitchers. It makes it less likely for someone to chase. It makes him pitched a little bit differently. It gives you a little more wiggle room. Like it's, yes, Julio will need to be the most important Mariner. Everyone is going to need to help Julio do that, though, in a way. One more here about the Mariners. This one was from Jeff Passan's weekly interview with Brock and Saul.
When you have a first half as disappointing as the Mariners was, and I don't think there is any other way that you can characterize this first half, the Seattle Mariners were one of the most disappointing teams in baseball. And they did not play anywhere close to the level of talent that they have. The Mariners should not be holding on to a wild card spot right now with an under 500 record. They should be running away with the American League West.
He said it's gut check time. Curtis, you definitely feel like it's gut check time, and you emphasize that by looking at the Mariners' upcoming schedule.
Yeah, what a gauntlet, I would say, it's going to be after this homestand where you've got the Giants and Reds, two teams you should be winning series against. I don't want to see them drop tonight like a 7-0 ball game. I don't want to see them drop 2 of 3 to the Giants or 2 of 3 to the Reds. You've got to win these series, because what is coming soon is 4 against the Rangers in Texas, 3 against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. You've got a homestand against the Twins, who you are tied with for the 3rd wild card right now in the American League. 3 against the Tigers, who won 9 of 12 going into the All-Star break.
Though may not have Skubal.
Right, because after I believe it's right before that Tigers series is the trade deadline on Monday, August 3rd. And then 3 against the first place Rays after that. And then 3 on the road at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees. And then that also doesn't include a stretch in the month of August where you're going to be playing the Brewers, who are in first place in the NL Central, the Cubs, who are fighting for a playoff spot, and then the Phillies as well.
I just realized if Skubal's traded, you mentioned a bunch of teams that are candidates to acquire him, and you're still going to face
It's like
them.
the teams you're probably facing.
I know,
yeah,
you're
like
just
the Dodgers,
listing a bunch of winning clubs and contenders.
You're
and
just
I'm like,
moving Skubal
you can't
around.
escape them.
Yeah.
Okay. In addition, now the Mariners are returning from the All-Star break, taking on the Giants tonight, and that was our biggest story today, certainly. But the biggest story of the week, Curtis, was that the Seahawks have a new ownership group, a new family in charge for the first time since 1997. And we learned a ton, so let's get to what's sticking with us from that. Andrew Brandt joined us earlier this week.
I think what people want most in ownership from a fan point of view is resources and staying out of the way. So resources, which seem to be in quite the abundance here, paying the largest money, of course, for any franchise in the NFL by far.
What do you want from an ownership group or an ownership family?
I would love for the Coastal family to just let the Seahawks operate, at least their football operations, operate in the way that they have, because it has proven to be very successful, not just to what we have seen here in Seattle historically with the Seahawks, like comparing eras, like, what they were in the 70s and 80s and 90s and the early 2000s prior to, Schneider getting there, and then was Pete, and now it's Mike McDonald. But, like, compared to the rest of the NFL, the Seahawks are one of the most successful franchises in recent history. 2 Super Bowls within the last, 12, 13 years. Another trip to one within that time frame, multiple division titles. Like, this run that the Seahawks have been on now for really kind of like the Mike Holmgren era, so really this century, like, very few teams would pass up on the run that the Seahawks have been on for what their team has accomplished. I feel like maybe, Patriots fans, Chiefs fans, they would not. Maybe the Steelers too, because they've won a couple Super Bowls in that same time frame. The
Not
Ravens,
Packers,
Eagles, you're
probably.
talking about like 5 or 6 teams that would not pass up on the opportunity to switch histories with what the Seahawks have done. So, I just let the Seahawks football operations do what they do. And do whatever it is you need to do on the business side of things, but make sure that the football operations kind of stay the same.
One last cut on this one that's sticking with us. Seth Wickersham, was he on with Brock and Salk?
Yes.
Okay, so he was on with Brock and Salk. This interview is from their show, and they just asked him, hey, what do you know about the Coastal family?
Not much. I mean, just that obviously they came on board with the 49ers a year ago. Obviously, Neil had worked with the 49ers, I think, way back when. But, he's a shrewd and smart, and I think a major competitor. And he's someone who doesn't, I wouldn't say he's as far as people who know him, they wouldn't describe him as cutthroat, but he's someone who he never loses. And, I think that's a positive sign, I think for an owner coming in, but we'll see how it plays out. I mean, nobody truly knows.
My hope is it would play out with patience for things that have proven to be good. For instance, I think that a worse owner might have moved on from John and Pete before the team moved on from Pete. They clearly never moved on from John. But I think that the Allen family recognized, hey, we have something good here that's working. The culture here is great. We just need a refresher here. Maybe we need a new voice at the top for head coach. Maybe we need some new position coaches. But, you can have bad drafts, it happens, or you can have free agents or trades that don't work out. And look at what John in that front office has been able to do over the last 4 years, which would obviously include the end of Pete's tenure. And then what Mike McDonald has been able to do in 2 seasons. It's you don't get there without the patience of not overreacting to, you had Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson and you finished with 9 wins or 7. You know what I mean?
That was a conversation we had quite a while in the middle
I remember
of
that.
those
and
of,
I think,
Schneider. Yeah.
I think I'm not saying this is an example, but there are owners of a David Tepper style, people that people around the league think might be more reactive that might have moved on.
Right.
And that would have been a mistake.
There are definitely front offices, the first sight of any sort of drop in productivity, they're going to make a huge move
because they don't like to Seth's point, they don't like to lose.
Exactly. Whereas what we have seen with the Seahawks, they have had a really good sustained run of success. Only one losing season since 2011, but even allowing them to have that losing season allowed them to then make the move to get rid of Russell Wilson, and they were kind of like, well, we're going to, maybe take our lumps here over the next couple of seasons, but because of what the Seahawks football people were able to do, you never felt like things were as bad as I think a lot of people in the national media thought it was. And they never did have a losing season after getting rid of Russell Wilson, which is a testament to just kind of how they've been able to put this roster together and the successes they've had in the draft. And I just hope that we don't see moves made without, a lot of caution made the way that it kind of has been here over the last 30 years or so.
These were cuts from some of our favorite interviews this week, but you can find full interviews and full shows from our podcast wherever you get your podcasts or any of the show's podcasts at seattlesports.com. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, real
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news.
Powered by Bay Alarm Security Services.
With Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Seahawks rookies report for training camp today. What's the real headline?
Between this and the British Open, there was no chance Bump was coming to work today.
Yeah, we weren't going to see
Should
him.
have known this.
He's back Monday. He's like, I'm out, guys.
Yeah.
I got golf to watch. I got football players to evaluate. I'm not going to be here, as Magic Johnson once said.
I mentioned this earlier during headline rewrites, but I think the same thing every time, which is laughing at Bump showing up to training camp last year in one of the ballets saying, hey, good luck out there. And I hope that happens again this year.
I had something like that happen to me at the Mariners spring training facility one time.
Like you showed up and they said, hey, good luck, man.
Well, I was there this is probably like 10 years ago now. I was there to shag fly balls because I think they still have that program where anybody can sign up to shag fly balls. You basically just had to have played baseball in your youth at some point. And I show up and I'm driving a rental car to the facility, and one of the workers at the Mariners spring training complex in Peoria starts directing me over to the players lot. And I was like, no, I'm not a player. Like, I get that I'm here really early for this, but no, I'm not a player.
I mean, you're
like,
taller,
oh, so sorry.
got a beard. You know what I mean?
I was younger then, too. I was probably like 24, 25.
Yeah.
So maybe blended in a little bit, but yeah, I definitely took that as a compliment.
I've never been mistaken for a player. I know. I know. It's devastating. Most of what I got, this is more so when I was younger, but I would show up to like will call. This is before, now you press pass, we go in a different area. But when I first started, I got my stuff at will call, and they would just assume that you're like someone's sister or,
family member, spouse.
Yeah. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two, the Mariners will have all 6 starting pitchers make starts on this homestand. What's the real headline?
But will they score 6 runs this homestand? Yes, that's hyperbolic.
It's
a little tough.
Need it.
But I think it makes very clear that offense has been the issue for the season, for the team so far this season, and is going to need to be the fix in the second half.
You're going to be facing the Giants' top 3 starters with Landon Roop tonight, Logan Webb on Saturday, and then Robbie Ray on Sunday. Webb is a pretty good starting pitcher. He has had quite a few years now of really good production. Robbie Ray, we all know how hot and cold he can be. He can look like the best pitcher in the world some days. And then if the control's not there, you're going to see crooked numbers given up by him. Landon Roop has been okay this year, a 4.27 ERA.
And he's tonight's starter, right?
He is, yeah. So that's who you're going to see opposite of Bryce Miller in this one. I think the Mariners will have opportunities to score, but you got to be able to take advantage of it. Gotta take advantage of runners in scoring position.
Now, is Logan Webb the one who was getting into Twitter spats? What happened with him?
I think somebody had criticized either him or a teammate, and then he started going back and forth with Giants fans on social media, and they were, obviously getting under his skin.
I think he'd had a rough start.
Yeah, and now he's deleted off. Yeah, he deleted everything on social media. So
probably the move. That's probably the move.
That's the move you make when you've been owned.
I think about that a lot too, though. Like if I was an athlete, I wouldn't want to see anything on social media because if you have, say you're a football player, if you've got a 3 touchdown performance, you are Twitter god for the day.
Sure.
And you are all over, and everyone's giving you compliments, and everyone thinks you're the best. But that's not your family. Those aren't your friends, which means that the day that you drop 3 touchdown passes, you are everyone's worst enemy. And you know what I mean? Like I just think of like being an athlete now, if you were glued to social media, would mess with your head constantly.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
No.
I mean, the Giants have had a horrible year anyway. Like, you're not doing yourself any favors scanning through social media.
Yep. Next up.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Spain takes on Argentina in Sunday's World Cup final. What's the real headline?
Time to find out whether Messi's the GOAT or the GOAT.
Yeah, he's
the GOAT.
He's pretty secure in his legacy.
Yeah, I think he's got this one locked down.
A second World Cup. It's funny because heading into 2022, everybody was like, I don't know if he's ever going to do it. I don't know if he's ever going to win one. And then, sure enough, they come away with the title. Now it's like he's one win away. Although Spain has been insanely good in this World Cup. I think they've still only allowed just 1 goal the whole tournament.
Well, and what's weird is that even if Spain gets ahead early, the matches that Argentina has played to get here make it feel like they are never out of it because they've trailed in every single one of them.
Right.
Haven't they not even taken the lead or scored in most of those until in the final third?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of I know it's Argentina and they're always one of the favorites in the tournament, but it kind of reminds me of Cinderella in the NCAA tournament where they're always winning on a buzzer beater. It's like, can you make a run like this throughout the entire tournament before you run into just an absolute stud of a team? And so often in the NCAA tournament, those teams that do have buzzer beater after buzzer beater after buzzer beater, they do end up facing a number 1 seed and lose by 25.
Yeah.
I don't know if this one's going to be I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination, but, man, Spain has been a machine. You know what's funny is that Cape Verde, the tiny nation that they were the darlings of the tournament, they played Argentina and Spain the closest of anyone in this tournament.
Let them back in.
They tied Spain to open up the World Cup, and then they lost, I think, in the 90th minute or so. Or they lost in
I thought
the
it was 103rd.
111th minute
111th.
To Argentina, 3-2.
Yeah. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Coming your way in 20 minutes.
The Mariners are back from the All-Star break.
Every game from here on out should have a little bit more urgency.
Especially in the American League. One good stretch, and you're back in this thing.
Tonight, it's the Mariners and Giants at T-Mobile Park as the sprint to defend the AL West pennant begins.
I look at the roster and I say, this is enough if these guys go out there and play the way they're supposed to.
7:10 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Let me take you back 104 years ago. The year is 1922. The president is Warren G. Harding. Insulin is a breakthrough diabetes treatment. Betty White, R.I.P., is born. And Wayscar Ford opens up in Auburn. Think about that. The Ford Bronco Sport I'm driving right now is from a dealership that's been around for 104 years. How's that possible? Well, Wayscar Ford is a model of consistency, and their secret, it's all about the people. Employees and customers, just like you and me. I'm looking at their core values, but they're more than just words on paper. They mean it. They care. To this day, when I've got a question about the Bronco, I text the guy I got it from. His name is Chris. The entire team there is so easy to work with. Wayscar Ford is celebrating their 104th birthday in Auburn with exclusive deals for loyal customers. No payments for 104 days. You can enter to win tickets and go see them in person and be part of history. The Wayscarf Way, 104 years of service, trust, and community. WayscarFord.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today.
In addition to treating ED and Peyronie's disease, we now offer testosterone replacement therapy. With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The biggest scuba sale in America starts next Thursday at Underwater Sports in North Seattle. Clearance prices on masks, regulators, computers, fins, tanks, BCs, free photo and video seminars, free fitting, and incredible savings on a custom fit dry suit. Big savings on advanced scuba classes. Underwater Sports 50th Annual Divers Fair starts next Thursday at the North Seattle Underwater Sports Store. Don't miss the biggest scuba sale in America.
Do you need a new roof? Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free estimate and secure $500 off your project this summer. Our technicians build a custom plan to ensure a high-quality roof installation every time. 3Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Digging in my yard, trying to lay a pipe. I hit a water line and now I have to pay a big fine. I should have called 811.
The countdown is on.
Just 8 days
Until Seahawks training camp on the home of the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's finally here, and we're kicking it off with a whole lot of free. Free brake pads with Duralast rotors. Free oil filter with 5 quarts of oil. Free Armor All wipes with Armor All glass cleaner, and more. More free, so you can have more summer. Celebrate free at AutoZone. Now through July 27th. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
from the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Matt's really tired of me saying, go to try the Taste Tickler subs in Portland.
Stop saying it.
Taste Tickler?
And don't say it on air.
What's wrong with saying that?
Everything.
The
What's
Taste
right
Tickler.
with saying it?
It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Matt's going to Portland. I was telling him to try this sub place. You know what? I'll give Portland this. Great food.
Oh,
phenomenal
yes.
food scene. Amazing.
I'd go so far as saying it's better than here.
I would go that far.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd go further.
No, I mean,
but
not the highest bar to clear.
But it's
not exactly like Paris, France here in Seattle.
But it was great. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Want to just do like a want to see, need to see? Because I'm looking ahead to this series, and I know that you can't necessarily approach a series, any individual series in the regular season as though it's like a make or break moment, but I'm feeling a sense of urgency and a sense of pressure, and so I've already got some want to and need to sees. You guys can also join this conversation. Want to see would be something that probably won't happen, but it would certainly make you feel better about the team if you saw it. Need to see is something you need to see for them to even win this game. Curtis, want to see, need to see.
Want to see good offense, like, 5 runs a game, whatever. Need to see, and I kind of alluded to this in our previous segment, need to see guys coming through with runners in scoring position. I'm so tired of seeing the bases loaded and runners getting stranded. I'm so tired of, big situations where a single hit would, plate 2, plate 3, and them coming away with nothing. I need to see them come through with runners in scoring position.
A great answer, too, because they aren't winning games without that. You simply need to do that to win this game at all. I think that it's just, I don't know quite what to attribute it to other than you're just not getting enough hits from much of anyone. But I don't remember entering the season thinking there were a lot of dead spaces on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't been the case of late. Like, you can find places in the roster where you just go like, this is just, I'm not expecting anything from this inning. Want to see, I've got to go with Ryan's kind of answer to this, which was, I don't want to see easy outs for Cal.
Yeah.
I can see Cal strike out. It's kind of part of his profile as a player. Schwarber, actually, about to set a maybe single-season record for strikeouts. It's okay for a power hitter to strike out. I'm fine with that. I don't want to see him strike out on 3 pitches twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see him
play at all.
I don't want to see him strike out on 3 swings where he's chasing elevated fastballs. Like, that's what I don't want to see.
Yeah, gosh, when the ball is coming kind of above his shoulders, there's a part of me where it's like, Cal, don't.
I wonder what it looks like.
To him?
Yeah. I'll never
probably
know.
Looks tempting.
I mean,
and that was a pitch he kind of had success with last year.
I think it's hard to lay off.
Yeah.
I always wonder sometimes how much of it is, by the time you're in your late 20s or 30s and you're in the league, or even your mid 20s, how much of it is this innate thing that, because I always think like, man, I wish Cal didn't swing so much at first pitches because he needs to see more pitches. And I would like for him to work these counts a little bit more. But then I wonder how much of who you are as a hitter by the time you get to this level is this natural thing you can't turn off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because you have to make split-second decisions.
Right.
So it's hard to train yourself to be like, I know that looks really obvious to you at home, but let me tell you what, this looked very much top of the zone to me.
That's the thing with Cal and the success that he has had. He hasn't had a level of baseball where he has struggled mightily. I know that when he first got called up, he did get sent back down to start the 2022 season and then was called up because of an injury to Tom Murphy. But, like, outside of that little, 2-week window of his career, he has not had a struggle to this magnitude. He had a pretty linear path to the big leagues where he was hitting well in, Modesto and Everett and Tacoma and whatnot, and then got his call up, and then ever since then, it's been, 25 to 35 home run seasons, and then last year, obviously, the 60.
You know what? I'm going to change that to my need to see.
Okay.
Because I don't think this team gets to the playoffs if we keep seeing that version of Cal. We don't need to see Cal hit a home run every day. We do need to see Cal be a quality out is what I'm going to say, a tough out. What I want to see then, if I'm going to just kind of allow myself to, then I want to see Naylor add some slug.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
That would be incredible because that's a guy who has a history of it, a recent history of it too last year. And I think Divish, when he mentioned, he was like, I wonder if what we saw last year from Naylor was more of a guy just getting hot and maybe not so much who he truly is as a player. But I think, you look at Naylor's career marks, he did have a 30 home run season in Cleveland. And even prior to the trade last year with Arizona, he had an OPS over 800. Like, he was hitting really good for the Diamondbacks a year ago. So I think there is a guy that could absolutely do better than what he's doing. I get that, maybe he's not going to hit, with an OPS of 900, he's not going to hit 40 home runs or anything like that. But just be that guy who last year told Wyman and Bob, I don't see the big deal about hitting in T-Mobile Park. I love being that guy.
Yeah.
Where's that guy? I haven't seen him this year. And I think we need to see that version of Josh Naylor, the one that's playing with like a supreme amount of confidence. A couple others on the text line, 564 says they want to see Cole Emerson get a 2 or 3 hit game, or
That's
2
a
or
good-
3 hits. Yeah.
That's a good want to see.
He's been very cold as of late.
Well, and like, you don't need Colt Emerson to be a great hitter to get to the playoffs. You do want to see him look like he can help you somehow.
Yeah.
Because you could use it.
Exactly.
Do you think that is it a dumb question to ask if he ever gets sent back down this year?
I don't think it's dumb. I just
I
think
see the question asked, so I'm going to ask you.
you do worry about what that could do to a guy's confidence, especially a young player, and you want to be able to see guys kind of battle through a slump and make their way through it unscathed. I wonder if it's maybe a similar situation to what we saw from Cole Young last year, where he had some good stretches, but ultimately it just was maybe a little too early for him. But, I mean, Cole Young has been a guy who I've had to worry about the least, really, of anybody in the starting nine this year. Like, he's been there every single day and has played tremendous defense and has looked the part of a big league second baseman for a lot of this season. So I wonder if it's kind of maybe Cole Emerson coming up on a lot of stuff like that. And look, the league has a book on him now, more so than what they did when he first came up. And, you know, he was having a lot of success early on. So that's a big part of a young player kind of establishing himself is, okay, they know what you're like in this version. How can you adapt and how can you respond to what the league kind of sees you as?
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Text now.
Continuing coverage of the sale of the Seahawks. Breaking it down with a little Dave Wyman Stanford math.
It has exploded from the time when I played. It was $194 million in '97 when they sold it. Reminder that $1 billion is 1,000 million. And so if you take $194 million times 50, that's about what the sale is at. It's a big deal.
The home of your Super Bowl champion Seahawks. Seattle Sports.
Usually when something sounds way too good to be true, it is. Imagine someone says you can cut your mobile bill in half. Sounds like a fantasy, but with Xfinity Mobile, it's the real deal. Because when you have Xfinity Internet, you can cut your mobile bill in half, plus try Xfinity Mobile free for a year, no commitment. That's a lot of streaming, sharing, scrolling, and whatever else you can do with your phone. All for half the price and none of the commitment. That means you'll save big over Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Wild. Now all you have to do is think about how you'll spend all that extra money. Call 1-800-XFINITY, go to XfinityMobile.com, or visit your local Xfinity store to switch today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Savings compared to one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only after 12 months. Regular rates do apply. So make the call today. 1-800-XFINITY.
Look, I need to be real with you for a second. At Seattle Children's Hospital, 1 in 3 patient families cannot afford the food their kids need to heal. Think about that. A child recovering from surgery, learning to walk again, and the family is struggling to put food, nutritious food, on the table. That's why Safeway and Seahawk, Jackson Smith and Jigba are launching the Food First Project, a multi-year initiative to fight pediatric food insecurity right here in our community. This is not someday maybe talk. This is grocery cards, produce vouchers, and food as medicine programs going directly to families the moment the need is identified. No barriers, no red tape, just help right now. They're funding vitamin D screenings, nutrition support for student athletes, rehabilitation feeding tools, and meals for hundreds of families staying inpatient at the hospital. I love what Safeway and Seattle Children's are doing, making a real difference where it matters most. JSN showing up. Now it's our turn, 12s. Put food first. Learn more at Safeway.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can be financially draining too. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $3 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can make a direct impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 23rd at the Somme Hotel and Spa in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 23rd. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Rev up your summer at LeMay, America's Car Museum. The British Bike Exhibition is now open along with the all-new cafe, El Coriano, which is getting rave reviews. Mark your calendar for Tacoma Cars and Coffee or family drive-in movie night. Have friends, family, or soccer fans coming to town? The trip to LeMay, America's Car Museum will be the highlight for kids and adults alike. Plan your visit now at americascarmuseum.org and experience something new today.
Listen every day to the Bump and Stacy Show for headline rewrites. Powered by Bay Alarm Security Services. Security systems and fire alarms for every business. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Tim Hunter, a lifelong local radio host, underwent Swedish cyberknife treatment for prostate cancer. What's it like to go through the cyberknife treatment?
You do a 5-day-in-a-row stint. You go to the Swedish hospital. They say set aside 45 minutes for each treatment. It's really only about 35 minutes of that little robotic arm dancing around you. There's no pain involved. It was just too easy.
Treat prostate cancer with Swedish cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate.
Cyberknife is a registered trademark of Accuray Incorporated and is used with permission.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and summer's here at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. You can check out upcoming shows like the Pop 2000 Tour with Chris Kirkpatrick of NSYNC, O-Town, Ryan Cabrera, and LFO on August 1st, or relive the 80s with pop sensation Taylor Dane on September 6th. You can find tickets at snocasino.com and the full lineup, plus experience luxury with breathtaking Cascade views, world-class dining, and play your favorite games. Elevate your next getaway. That's Seattle's closest, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Please game responsibly.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1490. That's 800-822-1490. 800-822-1490.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You got a question? Text it in. Any question. 866-979-3776. Is Bryce Miller the best starter right now?
On the Mariners? Yes. He's the one I have the most confidence in, whether it be home or road. I know Brian Wu has been great at home this year, but on the road, he has been anything but. And then Logan Gilbert has been fantastic away from home and has struggled a little bit at home. Or he's been fantastic on the road, struggled at home. So Bryce Miller has been great no matter where he has pitched this year.
What I need to know, when you guys go to commercial break and the little on-air light flips off, does Stacy start barking orders? and ask you to have her makeup touched up like in the movies.
Oh, wow. Is the text coming from inside the building?
No, Stacy is an excellent coworker, and she would never do such a thing. And it's all great, and I'm not being told to say this. It's always the best. Nope.
That's right.
Just great.
That's right, Matt.
Please.
That's enough. Turn off your mic. Turn off your mic.
Please return my dog.
Most of our commercial breaks are spent with Stacy just saying whatever take comes to her head, and a lot of us either not paying attention or just going, huh?
Yeah. I like to think I gave Curtis the best practice he could have had to be a parent.
Where it's just like, oh.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, we're good. I
ask Curtis all kinds of questions like, do you think I have a brain tumor?
Right.
I've asked them both that a lot.
And then we're just like, oh,
yeah.
no.
Or we play the phone number game for guests.
We do. We could never play it on the air.
No, because it's giving away someone's number.
Yeah, but whenever
But it sounds like this. Let's do an example.
So I'm usually the one that has the number of our guests.
Yes.
Matt and Stacy go back and forth trying to guess each digit of the phone number.
So it sounds like this. 2,
8,
9,
7,
1,
4,
3,
9,
4,
8,
5,
3,
5.
Ah!
Yeah. So.
And then we go through all digits.
For the rest of the digits.
I love commercial breaks. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Agree or disagree, Five Guys is better than Dick's Burgers.
Disagree, block the number, get out of my city.
Yeah, I would say Dick's Burgers are pretty phenomenal. Sometimes a Five Guys burger falls apart on you. It gets a little messy.
Is Five Guys' whole thing just that it's overpriced and not that great?
That's good. They just have a ton of toppings you can put on their burger.
They're not a sponsor. I'll take it back right now.
Well, and their whole thing too is like you get a ridiculous amount of fries.
Right. Okay. So they're the ones that put the fries in the back. I don't go to Five Guys.
Even if you get a small, you're getting basically what is a large portion of fries at a normal.
This person said Five Guys is like $80 for 2 people.
It's quite a bit.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't say it's $80 for 2 people, but you're probably spending between 2 people 40.
What I need to know, what are the chances of the Mariners getting to 90 wins?
They would have to get really hot here in the season.
You did the math earlier.
Yeah,
They'd
so
have
basically
to be at a 650
win percentage, pretty much. Yeah, it would. They'd have to win basically 2 out of every 3 games the rest of the way.
But you think they win the AL West without getting to 90?
I think so. I don't think anybody in the AL West is getting 90. I think in the American League, maybe 2 teams get to 90 wins this year.
Yeah. What I need to know. Oh, wait, I had a better one. Which Pacific Northwest phenomenon is more believable? Bigfoot or a UFO sighting? Which, by the way, I would say the UFO sighting is more of a Southwest kind of thing.
It's like Area 51. And
but definitely alien sightings. Yeah, without a doubt. Bigfoot isn't
I'm just
real.
not in the woods enough to spot Bigfoot.
We would have found Bigfoot. We would have found Bigfoot bones.
Right, yeah. Why is there no remains of a Bigfoot?
Yeah, Bigfoot is not real. I'll say it to your face. Bump thinks he is. Or Bump said it's like the ocean, like we'll just never know. And I said, but the difference is that we do.
Right. Now, I get like a lot of Earth is not explorable due to terrain, but I just don't think I just don't think there's a Bigfoot in the middle of like the Rocky Mountains.
I don't believe there's an animal of that size we haven't discovered. Like when they have random things come out and it's like, oh my God, we found a tiny frog in the Amazon rainforest we didn't know existed. Okay. But I'm sorry, there is not an 8-foot tall Bigfoot walking around. Can you imagine if there is and he's listening right now?
I don't think he would understand us if he was listening. He would have to be near civilization to hear us, unless he has a transistor radio.
Do you think that he would be flattered or offended by me saying he's not real? Like he's either like,
I think he'd be
how
flattered,
dare you,
'cause
or
he's
it's like, I'm so good at this.
He'd be like Michael Jordan, and then I took it personally.
Yeah.
Like you're never finding me now.
Never, not anymore. What?
Although I will say, we as a station, like our engineering department has gotten postcards from people in like Norway be like, we heard your signal.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean like there could be Bigfoot there?
I'm just saying.
You
this
never know.
70,000 watt blowtorch can be heard anywhere.
Fair. Someone said the mountain gorilla was discovered in 1902. Okay, we've had a long time to discover Bigfoot.
Yeah, none of us were there in 1902, 206.
And also, you know what? If I was, I would have found a gorilla sooner.
Unless you're
I'll say it right now.
124 years old.
Put me out there.
In.
Put me out there in 1898. I'm finding that gorilla. I'm not waiting until 1902 to get this done.
Well, wasn't it a couple of years ago, like Baker Mayfield got really into UFOs and was talking about it, and like the Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 had like confidential UFO information on him.
I truly believe we're at a place as a society and with how just the news cycle works in general that they could come out and be like, so we found a spaceship. These are photos. And we'd be like, not now. I think that's just where we are. How do you know how tall he is, Stacy? Isn't it kind of implied?
I mean, if he wasn't 8 feet tall, he'd be just called regular foot.
And that's...
you gotta be big to be called Bigfoot.
Yeah. This person says, the fact that Stacy is so convinced of Bigfoot's non-existence makes it certain to me that he does exist. Wow. 866-979-3776. Do you think Wyman could beat up Bigfoot?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Wyman thinks he could, for sure.
Wyman's probably going to have a slightly lower center of gravity and perfect tackling form.
Low man wins.
And Bigfoot...
Low creature wins.
I think if Wyman can handle a punch or two from Bigfoot, I think if he was in a blind rage, he could.
Well, do we think... I don't even think Bigfoot would even know to, like, wind up to punch. I think it just kind of, like, swing
I'm not
his
entirely
arms
sure.
everywhere.
Let me tell you what. That Bigfoot puts dog poop in Wyman's trash can.
It's over.
Wyman's seeing red. That Bigfoot's done.
It's over.
And
for
then
you
know what?
Bigfoot.
They definitely don't exist after that. Speaking of, Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Back on February 8th, the countdown started at 167 days.
3, 2, 1.
Right after the clock showed zeros.
The Seahawks win Super Bowl 60.
Now we're less than 2 weeks away. 8 days until Seahawks training camp begins.
We know that we're target number 1 now.
And nobody covers Seahawks training camp like the home of the Super Bowl champs, Seattle Sports.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
We share our used cars. So our used cars are open trade between any store. So the sales managers don't have a problem in saying, yes, that car's available. And then that person from Seattle can come to Kirkland, pick the car up and sell it. It's what's best for the customer at the end of the day.
The LJ way.
If the customer wants to be met in Seattle, then let's figure out how to get that car from Kirkland to Seattle so that customer can come in there and transact. When you're all one team and you've got a great relationship, the other team comes over and helps that team, and then you as the customer don't see any difference in that experience. You're still getting the same service that you want and expect.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
What if I told you a local credit union is giving members up to $30 per month just to make everyday purchases? Dave Wyman here, and when I heard about the offer from Harborstone Credit Union, I said, sign me up. And that's what I did at harborstone.com/cash. You know, I'm not a tech-savvy guy, but opening a checking account was easy enough for me to figure out. I got my PNW Cashback checking account for free, no fees or minimums, and when I make everyday purchases with my Harborstone PNW Cashback debit card, I earn up to $30 each month. My wife loves it when I get cash back on gas, groceries, coffee, travel, and lunch. All categories count towards your cash back. You can even tap to pay. If you live, work, or worship in the state of Washington, sign up for a membership with Harborstone Credit Union and get the PNW Cashback free checking account. Open your free account online like I did at harborstone.com/cash or visit one of their 29 branches across the Northwest.
Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply. Pests and poor installation have something in common. One call to Eastside Exterminators takes care of both. For more than 50 years, families across Western Washington have trusted Eastside Exterminators to eliminate pests for good and protect homes from crawl space to attic. With dedicated installation services and the state's only smart pest detection technology. From Everett to Federal Way, one call handles it all. 425-482-2271 or visit eastsideexterminators.com. Eastside Exterminators, family first pest control.
Ready to relax, unwind, and feel your best? The Spa Warehouse Summer Savings Expo is on now. Enjoy big savings on in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. Hot tubs start as low as $3,999 with savings up to $3,000 on select models. Score incredible deals on in-stock swim spas. Save up to $7,700. Plus, interest-free financing through 2028 on approved credit. The expo ends July 31st. Don't delay. Your best life starts at the Spa Warehouse.
Hey fans, it's Rick Riz. I love making exciting calls every night, but there's a call I'm really excited to make in just days when I can say goodbye glasses. I'm having refractive lens exchange, RLE from K2 Vision, to get rid of readers, glasses, and contacts. Plus, I'll never get a cataract. For decades, I've had to call ball games using readers to see my notes, then over them to see the field. On and off, on and off. It was brutal. But no more. K2 Vision RLE is my permanent solution to a lifetime of great vision. Holy smokes. Talk about experienced veterans. The K2 Vision RLA team has done over 150,000 lens procedures. I trust their stuff and them. Stay tuned. I'll keep you posted on my results. So enjoy life with no readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. Get your free Zoom consult now at k2visionrle.com. Then you can make the call. Goodbye glasses. k2visionrle.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.